Those in the Gargastani camp who opposed their own Hierophant Barbatos did not rise to action. Worse, whispers of the truth behind what happened had begun to spread throughout Gargastan on the lips of Bozek and his men. Where the Duke had sought to sow discord, a new sense of unity now grows among the Gargastani people, even as the stalemate of forces along the Burnham Massif shows no signs of yielding clear victory to either side. Fearing the truth behind the massacre might reach the ears of his own troops, the Duke has pushed forward with a daring strike on Barbatos' stronghold at Koritanai Keep. Meanwhile, Pavel arrives at the ruins of Balma Musa with orders to harry the enemy's flank.
Alrighty, hello every folks, and welcome back to the level 1 run. Alright, so back to sitting in the rain and doing all this kind of thing. So this is gonna kind of be the make or break for all of the stuff that happened up to this point. Because yeah, this is the point where we find out if, well, if we've gotten enough ranks and everything. I think it should be fine. Basically, we're kind of stuck in a little bit of a rut up until we can get a few extra bits and pieces here. Funnily enough, apparently this spelling of Alarum is not actually a typo. It's I guess it's just how they used to spell it, or at least it was a version of it that was allowed to be spelled that way. I definitely saw a lot of funky spellings around the Shakespeare times, because yeah. For quite a while, there actually weren't that many literary rules, so you could kind of just make up whatever as long as it vaguely sounded correct. So then they talk about some politics, which, you know what, people have been asking me to do the, to kind of talk about the story more and everything else. So, you know what, we'll go ahead and go dive into that, maybe actually watch some cutscenes this time around. So basically, what he's saying here is that, yeah, Leonard has been arguing with Ronway this entire time, basically, just every step of the way. It's like, hey, can you maybe stop being a psychotic douche? Just a bit of a thought, sir. which, yeah, Ronway goes a lot of different ways, depending on which way the story goes. I have to say, for the law route, he's just a complete douche through and through. So basically, you get all these flashbacks where they had all these meetings. They're talking about how they're going to get all these advantages by screwing people over everywhere. How essentially they have no real way to win directly, but they're just kind of going to throw everybody out there and see what sticks. Now, I will say, as much as Leonard goes against it, as much as he's saying that it's, you know, kind of a lost cause kind of thing. Well, by the way, quick little thing here. That every other time this kind of plan comes up, Cashra mentions that it's a lot of ifs and whens. I believe this is the one time that she actually doesn't, for whatever reason. But anyway. So yeah, he basically says, okay, we're sending the mascot out to go do some mascot stuff and everything else. You just go attack some random towns and whatever else. He's talking about the plans being perfect. So basically, Ronway on Law Route is... well, we're just not going to get into modern politics. Anyway, so as far as what we got this time around, this is a little bit of a refresher. I'll max down on crossbows or bows, depending on who's got what skills. Pretty well up there with daggers. I just want to make sure at least most folks have the double swing. And then a few ranks and everything else. But like I was saying, this is going to be kind of the make or break for the time being. Because we actually have a really long time until anything else can be updated. So I've got a really long way to go before I can actually get any new skills on anyone. So we're just basically going in and sweeping up this town yet again. Apparently Denim just really hates this town on this route. What can you do, right? And so here, this is the problem with using archers for a lot of things. I want to stick with archers for at least the time being. We'll be using warriors a lot more later, but for the time being I need those few extra points of dexterity that they've got. As you can see, they're going to be hitting us pretty well. The nice thing is, at least, we're not getting completely one-shot yet, and thankfully, before we get to that point, we'll have ways to deal with it. But, anywho, Pretty much, the majority of our good skills are going to come from recruited characters, but the majority of our passives are actually going to come from whenever we manage to get either a Warlock or Witch Mark. Which, I mean, yeah, they're the same thing, but as soon as we get a class mark for one of them, that's when we can start adjusting some things. Technically speaking, we just need the one, so that should be showing up towards the end of this chapter. In some routes, it's chapter 3, and sometimes you can get them in 2. I believe once Farampa opens, we can actually get a hold of one, and basically that's what we need in order to start getting passives on everyone. For the time being, we just have weapon skills, but we'll get there. We'll get there. It's not like we really need Warlocks for that much. Their actual skill set doesn't really do anything for us. But yeah, one of the skills that they're able to learn at level 1 is actually one of the ones that it's going to carry a large part of this. That'll end up changing later on as well. There's actually a few other characters that we'll want for a similar reason, but we'll get to that when we get to it. There's many, many steps to this. Again, at rank 8, we're basically matching damage with generic grunts. That's going to get even worse before it gets better. Didn't quite route this out right. Well, last time through I was able to make that shot somehow. Man, coming off of one vision, these shots are just so slow. Yeah, I don't think she'll be able to make the shot either. That's fine. Start throwing out some strengthens, I think. Do as you do. Funnily enough, this map, if we end up... I really hope it doesn't end up coming down to it, but we can't actually get stuck and be unable to complete this map. Hopefully that doesn't happen. And I don't mean for levels either. Yeah, Vanilla TO. That is very much the case. I mean, I do still occasionally play Vanilla. But no, basically this is a level 1 run. Just wanted to prove that this can be beaten at level 1. So that's what we're doing. Also, actually, now that I think about it, let me make sure that all the right things are active to make sure that that's not there. So yeah, we got no experience, and nothing else is active. Okay, we're good, we're good. And yes, I know, the monster run is being finished soon. I say for the 8th month in a row. But no, it will be. I was thinking sometime this week I was going to start continuing that. I know, Boko, I'm sorry. We didn't even use you in that run so far. But yeah, so we're just gonna go after these one at a time. One at a time, focus everyone down. Once they start getting their machine gun moves, then we can start making a little bit more headway. I'm not even gonna bother attacking the knight until I can one-shot him. I mean, that's basically going to be the strategy up until we can get Warlocks. Which, again, has nothing to do with their actual casting ability. We're going to have everyone chew rocks. And it sounds like that's a metaphor for something else, and no it isn't. It's fine. Glad to find you on here. Downloaded Lucked about 2 or 3 weeks ago and found your one-man challenger on YouTube. Really enjoying it? Well, I'm glad. Glad you're enjoying it. It's been a really fun run to do. But yeah, no, I've been challenge running this game for like a decade now. I love it. Like, this is easily probably some of the most mileage I've ever gotten out of challenge running anything. Which is funny because like Armored Core 3 and stuff like that, I've gone and done dozens and dozens of challenges of that one, but none of them have lasted nearly as long as this one. But yeah. But yeah, it's fun. It's really fun. Which, by the way, depending on which solo run you're talking about, are you talking about the One Vision run, or are we talking about the solo vanilla run? Because the last episode of the solo vanilla run is, well, the funny part is I've been editing that crap for about a year now, and every time I think it's finally done, I go back and then I find out that there's a mistake or something else on it, and then I got to go back and redo a bunch of it. Like, just the other day, I was thinking, okay, it's finally done. I get all the commentary and everything else done. Oh, for Vision? Alright, and by the way, that will be continuing on. There was an update to how armor worked and stuff like that. So I want to make sure that that's all kind of in its finalized version before moving forward. because it was a pretty major armor rework, and I kind of left that run in the middle of the castle fight. So yeah, we'll be back to that as soon as probably the next patch or so. Because I really was not expecting an armor rework out of nowhere. But stuff happens, you know. Some folks were asking for more kind of mid-game love there, and so it was, for better or worse. So far, I don't know how I feel about a lot of the armor stuff, but then again, still, I just found out that update actually came in the other day. Yeah. But yeah, we'll be getting back to One Vision, don't worry. We'll finish the monster run, we'll get back to One Vision, all that stuff's happening. I know there hasn't been as much interest in the whole Chimera Squad thing, because there's a lot of bigger names that have been doing it and all that kind of thing. I've just been loving that game. It's really neat. I think if you love strategy games, would definitely recommend it. Not to mention, by the way, speaking of updates to things, don't know if you guys have been keeping eyes on Fell Seal? Because yeah, that's also getting apparently on top of the DLC, it's also getting a rework of a lot of things. So that's pretty neat. I'm hoping it'll fix some of the stuff we ran into in the first run. So definitely looking forward to doing the New Game Plus of that one as well. Just slap all the difficulty sliders all the way up. See what we end up finding out of that. God dang, Fell Seal is satisfying. It's like, as far as official releases that I would say are probably up there with this game, Fell Seal's definitely up there. I mean, I was expecting what everyone was saying about it being just like a love letter to all these games, but dang, I wasn't expecting it to actually take that ball and get a few field goals with it. And I don't mean it just kicked it across the field. I mean it literally just like kicked it, caught it in the air, and then just slam dunked it through whatever that friggin' tuning fork thing is actually called. I don't do sports, but that's what it did. Anyway, there we go. Kind of wound up staying a bit late with the project last night, so got my dang near bucket of coffee ready to go here. Anywho, so yeah, for anyone just kind of catching up on this particular run, basically what we've done at this point, we've hopefully set up a proper Chapter 2 here. So it takes a lot of very specific things to be able to actually pull this off. So for one thing, we're going with pretty much entirely dex weapons. We're going to be going with some other stuff down the road. I mean, the reasons are pretty obvious. Them suckers just scale like crazy. Etsum, where is your crossbow skill? Oh, right, she's the rookie. I forgot I had a rookie on the team. I forget if somebody died or something that happened, but oh well. Hopefully nobody died. But we're going to need a roster of probably 16 or so characters for the time being, and then we'll need to up that to 24 by the end of the game. But I've been running around collecting some stat cards for them. It's kind of a lengthy process, but I didn't want to go too far down that rabbit hole. But basically what we have here is a situation where I have a lot of their main skills maxed out. I've got a few rookies on the team for the time being, and that's right, that's what it was. It's because I didn't have space on the team, so yeah, there's a few people that are just freshly training here. So yeah, there's a couple rookies, but for the most part, they're trained up to between rank 6 and 8. So that's giving them a bunch of extra bonus damage. They can't learn a lot of their skills. Like, the option is simply not there. So a big part of the level 1 run is basically just finding ways to access those skills that you're not supposed to have. And you might be thinking, okay, go use recruits. Well, in most cases, like, the actual ability, recruit, like, let's see. What can we get? We can't get recruit, we can't get Demon's Pact, we can't get, Coax. Basically, we can't get most of the recruitment skills. One of the reasons that we're actually going for a Warlock is getting a hold of one of those recruitment skills, because there's only 2 that are actually available at level 1. And there's actually no NPCs that you can hire that come with those skills equipped. So yeah, basically we're doing generic only, so we can't even use those unique characters when we get them, so no RT cheat shenanigans this time around. We're doing this like as low bar as possible. But yeah, so the nice thing is there's only one equipment drop everybody's going to need in the entire game, so we don't have to worry about that. But yeah, it's going to be a challenge. So the reason that we're actually getting Warlocks is they can get Control Golem. So that would mean that any passive skills that a Golem can learn, so for example, I believe they end up learning most of the Strengthen and Fortify skills, Resistance and things like that, those are something that'll, like, low-end Strengthen and Resistance, and I don't actually think they can learn Fortify now that I think about it. Those kinds of things we'll be able to pick up. So as soon as Farampa opens up, we have that option. But for the time being, we're just dealing with this. Another thing is we need to be able to pick up Anatomy. Which yeah, Anatomy is going to be the one thing that actually allows this run to be possible. Unfortunately, getting a hold of it is a challenge in and of itself. And that's actually where most of the story recruits are going to be going to. So yes, we're basically killing off every character that we can hire in the story, and then force-feeding them to the unfortunate rookie squad here. We're going to be going down some pretty dark roads this run. But you know what? Sometimes that's what it takes to get it done. So I'll go ahead and drop a heal here, just to make them take one more hit. We're probably not going to be carrying around too many heals, because they're a little bit worthless. I mean, even at this point, the Mending Seeds are already doing basically endgame healing. Just at close range instead of long range. But yeah, the only recruit skills that are actually available in this run, we will eventually be able to recruit golems, and we'll eventually be able to recruit undead. That's all. Now, thankfully, undead covers a lot of different things, so any kind of human type skills that we'll end up needing, we'll probably end up picking those up in Palace of the Dead. Which, by the way, this is going to be an attempt at all bosses as well. So yeah, it's gonna it's gonna be a thing. It's gonna be a little bit of a thing. We won't really be able to do any kind of meaningful grinding for quite a while. But well, we should have everything that we need for the next few chapters, or for the majority of Chapter 2. Kind of the next big stepping stone. I'm expecting to get a little bit stuck in the Vice fight, but the plan is to just kind of rapid fire him and be done with it. This Death Whale should sort him out real good. And by the way, if I randomly disappear over the course of the stream here, we're still in the process of training our puppy here. Occasionally weird stuff happens. So, gotta keep an eye on her. Alright, so we got a Brimstone Hail. That'll go ahead and ignore terrain. We can just go ahead and pop these two over here. So the reason that most of these finishers are able to get through is only because they do a little bit of extra flat damage on top of what they were already supposed to do. So we're taking the ridiculous scaling of this game and just kind of cranking it up to its max to be able to even pull it off. And what we experienced there was a miracle, by the way, because that sucker loves to get stuck right over here. He will gladly just get himself stuck in this top corner. He'll have no way to go down, no way to go back up, and you can't reach him. So unless you've got finishers, which I suppose we do in this case, so it wouldn't necessarily matter too much, you can wind up getting yourself soft-locked here. I've had it happen on a few runs before. Also, be right back. Also, thankfully, my worrying was for nothing. The puppy's not doing anything scary right now. Now, if anyone would be so kind as to tell me here, how's the audio? So I did kind of fiddle with it earlier. Alright, here's Death Whale. It'll basically one-shot everything up until the end of Chapter 2. Vice will take a couple of them, but almost nobody can actually survive one of these. Like, it's pretty much guaranteed to do at least 40 to 50 to everything, if not do, like, 300 plus. Thank you, Flat Damage. You make sense like that. I can afford to just spam these items as much as we want. Kind of, well beyond loaded. over the course of grinding and everything else, wound up getting... I think we had like 800 plus. Sounds fine? Okay. Glad to hear it, thank you. Alright, 46. Yeah, we're just gonna go for a Heart Crusher here, just so it's a little bit more accurate. Another thing we're actually going to be abusing a whole lot of is the way that the AI thinks in this game. There's actually a lot of cases where you can kind of trick them into doing very specific things if you know what they're up to. Like, for example, that vanilla solo run would not actually have been possible if not for an AI trick at the very end. Simply because even with... well, technically speaking, you're forced to bring 3 along in order to get the One-Eyed Night Slayer thing. But 2 of them were just hanging around in the back, and, well, there was a very specific thing to get him to not do his insta-kill move. Because, yeah, if you didn't know, he actually has a move that'll rip hearts off you in the base game. And if he hits you with that thing 3 times, you're basically just permadead no matter what. It's actually one of the few cases where they use the death mechanic in a, well, almost interesting way. It's kind of a shame that it was only the one boss. Honestly, I kind of wonder how this game would work if it used a almost Darkest Dungeon type of situation. Like where instead of lives, you basically just rolled for a chance to survive every time that you ended up getting knocked out. Would have been pretty cool. Like maybe if you end up rolling the what was it called? It was like a righteous chance or something like that. End up rolling one of those, you just automatically get a turn or something. It could have been neat. Like, I feel if they ever do make a sequel, it'll probably end up looking a little bit like that. I mean, you know, I wonder if I don't know what the Felseal folks are up to after their next DLC plans and things like that. But I'm gonna have to keep pestering them to go make a Tactics Ogre. Because they made an FFT, and that is the single best FFT I've ever seen. Well, okay. Okay. Let's just say it's on par with Cerebro's mod. Let's put it that way. It's like the 2 of those take what works, and they just run with it. Like, I will say, like, as far as excitement for things go, I'm usually not super excited for DLC, but I haven't been this excited for Felseal's DLC ever since New Vegas started farting out DLCs left and right. Alright, just pop all of them over there. As far as the ones that don't have any skills, or don't have too much skill going on right now, they'll get there. We'll eventually grind them up. There really wasn't too much of a reason to do it. For now, I have well more than enough rank 8s. There's like rank 8, like I said, rank 8 Death Whale, nothing's surviving that. It doesn't start actually doing 1s and things like that up until around the end of Chapter 4. But even then, again, we're going like for full final level 50 boss and everything, so anything can happen. I don't know. I still don't know if that particular part is possible, but dang it, we're gonna try. It'll be a long road. It'll be a weird road. And let's see if we can maybe get some friends here. Come on, you know you want to join us. Yeah, Flaming Blast, I believe it's a 40% chance to charm. Though it honestly feels like 80 sometimes. That's one of the reasons I decided to train both bows and crossbows on everybody. Like, they're gonna need daggers for close range, just kind of finishers and things like that. But when it comes to the long-range stuff, sometimes you really want to have the entire team on you. Sometimes, or on your side. Sometimes you want to have the option of just raw damage. So let's see which way it works out. Also, sorry, Mr. Cerebro, for getting you hit with a tornado. Such things happen. Yeah, how little damage they're doing is a little concerning. You can see the main difference with all those ranks, with all those stat ups and all those ranks and everything else. They're getting a whole 25 extra damage, as opposed to, you know, one crafting upgrade that'll get you like 120 extra in vanilla. But we'll get there. We will be good. We're just kind of gonna deal with this up until we get anatomy. And yeah, once we pick up anatomy, we can also not use warriors as much as well, because we don't have to rely on using weapon skills for a defensive buff. There we go. Alright, so next we got the Aerosol fight. Not as difficult as you might think. Like, it'll be a little bit of a slog, but it's not as difficult as you might think. Because she's going to be up here. Oh, right, we're doing law this time. Ah, crap. This is what I get for testing it on neutral. So originally I tested it on neutral. Basically allowed for getting Aerosol early. So let's see, we go to Aciton, she'll run off. We don't get her until much later. So we're going to be running a little bit behind on recruit skills. We're going to be able to pick up Zapan once we head back this way. So it's going to be here. Those are basically nothing fights. And then, yeah, once we get here, we do Aerosol fight, at which point we end up getting sent all the way back over here. Take on Vice. And then right before the Vice fight is when we should be getting Zapan, so that should be our first anatomy. Alright. Yeah. Don't know why I'm even looking at the armors. There's nothing to update with the armors. If you're thinking, why don't you go buy the crafting books and update your stuff? And yeah, no. It doesn't work that way. Crafting stuff updates it to level 3, so we're stuck at everything that's available at level 1. Which is not a whole lot. But funnily enough, if you manage to pick up any skills that you're not supposed to know, you can still have it. Yes, it wasn't a feint after all. Well, I really would hope not. I'm like, oh, haha, like 5,000 died. Man, what a funny joke. Though that being said, I mean, we're not getting into modern events. Anyway. So, what do we got here? Got a whole lot of no damage is what we got here. So this is going to be a little bit blind, actually. I probably should have gone warriors. See, all we need is to get close to the leader. There's no sense in fighting all the rest of these. These guys do have an interesting conversation, though. Basically, both of them realize that they're both stuck on opposite sides of the war, but even though neither one really wants to fight each other. Doing their nice little angsty moment. Although weirdly enough, the two lines at the very end can often end up getting a little bit jumbled, because he's supposed to slowly realize that, oh, you know, Denham's supposed to slowly realize over the course of the fight, you know, like, hey, this guy is actually not an idiot. He's not fighting me for no reason. They're not all bad people. They don't even want to be here. And then usually the two lines end up going together, though. He's there like, oh yeah, I'm the walking wrath of my country, basically. And then right at the very end, he's like, no, I'm really not fighting out of anger, actually. So I changed my mind. Alright, there we go. Unfortunately, Cerebro's got a little bit lighter vitality than Denham here, so he's going to end up taking a few hits. And yeah, these heals are just kind of sticking around for those times that I need somebody to take one more hit, but can't quite do anything else with that unit. And this is where archers start falling off. They're a little bit of extra damage, it just isn't really worth it at this point. So all we're going to do is we're just going to keep marching forward here. Going to switch everybody over to warriors here. Actually, right, Ed. The reason I have them as archers is because of the skills they need to learn. And yeah, this is the brother of the first guy that you fight. It's like, well, life happens, everyone's dying all the time. What can you do, am I right? Those crazy wars. Alright. Can you make that snipe? Not quite. Get rid of this stun real quick. That is some delicious OJ. I love having an excuse to drink OJ all the time now. Alright, and here's where we get into a little bit of a funny thing of the design here. So we can use the daggers for really fast swipes here, build up a little bit of extra TP. If they miss, it doesn't really matter too much. They've got almost no recovery time cost to them, so you can swing them like crazy. It's one of the reasons why a lot of folks use daggers as kind of an optimal endgame build. And I wouldn't say they're amazing in the endgame, but they're always handy as a quick attacker. And this actually applies to both versions. If you're just looking to have something on hand, just kind of take those little swings that you don't really want to commit much to. That's what your daggers are there for. And Aciton goes ahead and eats it from a single hit to the face. So yeah, we are at one-hit kill points at this point. So that's all well and dandy. Yeah, the Griffins start becoming really scary with Stun Breath. We'll gladly take out multiple units at once. Numbing Hooks, same thing, just basically going to be a one-shot. This is why we stocked up on a whole lot of revival items. And this is why I'm going to probably end up buying about 20 more before the next fight. But for this one in particular, we should be alright. And I'm just having these guys fire real quick for a little bit of experience. Sure, it's not the most optimal time to do it. Yes, I probably should have had that forward archer go ahead and raise up one of the two that fell down. It's okay. We've still got the options there. For some reason, he's still deciding to charge forward. Who knows why? Let's take a little quick dagger swing here, just so that I know that he's not getting away. Alright, take a little sharpo shot here. We might not actually even need the finishers. You just need two more. Alright, Cerebro, you got this shot for me. Not from there, you don't. Alright, 55 from the front. What about an acid rain? I mean, he could do that. Alright. Interestingly, I don't have any missile casts. But it's fine. It's a win all the same. So he dies, everybody else leaves. They kind of forget the fact that they're fighting tissue paper. So we didn't get that whole Wrath of the Wallister line, but he's just sitting there like, nah. I don't actually fight for any particular political reason. The plot just told me to be here. Which is true. Alright, and that's where we get the crafting command. That'll net us absolutely nothing. At least for the time being. Ray Bohm, that's gonna be... I think it's Josephine. but just basically the cleric fight. Let me see here. Kind of save a little bit of time here. We're gonna buy another 20 of those. Don't really need any of that stuff. Do we have any new stuff here? Beastmasters, I don't think we need any of. I'm gonna pick up a few of each just to kind of have them. TKs, I don't think have anything that we need. Again, the big one's gonna be Farampa, and we're about 5 fights away from being able to go into Farampa. So let's go here. I suppose the nice thing about having the game as it is right now is everything's always permanently scaled down. So we don't have to worry about running into too many fights early on. At least on the main map, we don't have to worry about running into too many fights over-leveled. And yeah, it's Josephine. It's like, what? But we're just casually hanging out in the sewer. Who knows what we're doing here? But no, this is supposed to be like their water source kind of thing, if you ever wondered what the deal is with this map. They're just here to defend the water sources, which is why they have sea creatures living in them. Yeah, Aciton apparently gets its water from octopus food. It's a strange place. Oh, by the way, to answer one question that I got last time, you don't get any kind of passive skill upgrades when you don't have anyone leveling up. So all these fights they're winning, somebody was under the impression that you would still get the passive stat gains, and no, you don't. Don't get any of that. And yeah, if anybody's ever played some AoE 2 Regicide, that's basically what we're going to be doing for a large part of this run. Normally Chaos is the route that you want to go for that one. If you go down Chaos, you get a whole lot more of being able to just have leader-only fights. It does seem like it'd be the ideal way to go. Not for this one, though, because unfortunately Chaos also has the fewest recruits by far, and I need at least some story recruits to get anywhere in this. So yeah, we gotta take harder fights in order to be able to take on harder fights. But realistically, what we need to get done here, we need to be able just to get within range of the leader, and then a couple shots is all it should really take. Just throw a strengthen on you. Mr. King of the Impossible over here. Gonna have Cheese Stick take the northern flank. If I only send one up the northern flank, they shouldn't make a big deal about cornering her. Wow, we have no defense against blow darts. Oh, hang on, one quick second here. Alright, upwards and onwards. Let's go here. Throw another heal out this way. Gonna see if I have any Wheel of Fortune cards. Yes we do. Okay, so that basically gives us a teleport. Should allow Gordon to just fly into the back there. Nice thing about collecting so many cards throughout the course of this run is, yeah, we never have to worry about traversal items. We're just going to have teleport available right from the very start, and usually going to be plenty of it. So plan is everyone else holds here. Gordon flies up, takes one shot at the leader. Then from there he'll go ahead and warp a little bit closer, at which point on that second turn he should be able to take a Death Whale, and then we're done here. If I can get her out of the way, that'd be handy. There's a chance that she'll drop that Blow Dart gun, which will actually net us absolutely nothing, because we can't even use the thing, but it'll be nice to have one. For those that didn't know, as far as the drop system in this game, they'll basically be able to drop anything they can carry as long as it's not unique. And if it's unique, there's still a chance to drop it, but they actually have to die. So in order for that to happen, usually certain story requirements have to be met. It's the whole thing. Alright. Now move her up here so that they see this unit as being a little bit surrounded. So we're going to take one Wheel of Fortune. These will end up dropping off in usefulness pretty significantly once we start running to more knights, but for the time being, should be alright here. And more than likely, Josephine's going to run to the right there, to the very edge of the pier. And that'll be our spot. Actually, yeah. Suddenly that just became a problem, so hopefully she doesn't move. I didn't realize that knight actually had rampart on him. But we're not going to be able to warp past him. It's weird how teleport is affected by rampart aura, but... Oh, son of a dick. Alright, well, we got water bubbled. Yeah, so octopi can just one-shot us at any point whenever they feel like it. Alright, rolled high on that one. Beast Tamer's gone. I think this will still have the vertical forgiveness to work. Yes, it will. Now, unfortunately, that's all his buffs, as well as his entire meter gone. And there she goes. There she goes. There she goes several more times. So like I said, not really worrying about the drops. There's only one drop that I really want to get anytime in the near future. And that is not it. I'll go ahead and max her out. I'm probably going to throw some more heals on Denim later, but I can do a 75 heal for now. Cheese Stick will barely survive that. Probably one more point and she wouldn't have. And this is when all the heal casts are going to come into play. Actually, I need to remember to go to the store and pick up the strengthening spellbook there as well. Just so we can do a long range attack boost here. It's actually not even the 2-tile thing that's the issue, because we technically can reach him within 2 tiles. Our issue here is verticality, which scrolls would be able to reach, items couldn't. Just gonna get carved up right in the front there. You'll start noticing over time, though, the cool thing about this run is that we're gonna stay the same weight. While all these guys are gonna get all these like fancy pieces of equipment and everything else get heavier and heavier and heavier, well, we're not. We're just gonna stay at basic weight forever. So, you know, that could be potentially interesting. Now, it should allow us for multi-turning a decent bit later. Because, like, endgame armors go all the way up to 16, if I recall correctly. Meanwhile, we're still running 4 the entire time, so we should be able to start double-turning things. And once we end up actually optimizing these characters, well, then we'll be off to the races now, won't we? Alright, perfect. We're gonna go ahead and give him a light buff. And just give him a little bit more punch against the healer there. Because if he can get back there, if he can take that shot, then this is already in the bag. Right, she can already hit him from or hit her from here. Gonna get a crit. See, if I go up here, it exposes him to taking more hits. If I go down this way, it'll take 1 extra round. But we don't have to worry about as many things. Alright, heal up one of our frontliners. Heal this one up as well. And she's hopefully out of danger, so we'll use her as the temporary healer. Get him up to a little bit back up to scratch. Just the fact that he's got extra health and whatever else makes him a pretty ideal assassin unit. Normally I would end up using Canopus for stuff like this, but he's not allowed. So we're just not going to use him. Also, the fact that he's kind of dead definitely puts a damper on that particular effect. Or particular effort, rather. Get Sven Lady patched up very slightly. Probably should have just used a Mending Seed there, if I'm honest. Alright, and they're just going to crit their way right on through. I believe these guys are set to a Vanguard AI, which basically means that if they meet one of your units, they'll just sit there and try to pass through them instead of trying to back up at any point. If you ever want to do an AI-only run and you want to try to set them up so that they stop attacking and running away like the aggressive one normally does, you just set them to Vanguard. That causes them to try to, like it says, like when it says, you know, they'll hold the line as a definition, you kind of assume they'll stick back and be defensive, and really what it means is they'll just run straight into the front and make a wall, which is pretty handy. Alright. More healing. Oof. The amount of time it takes for Denim to move, though. It's so lengthy. Okay, he's at 36 for now. This should be fine. He's not running Strengthen at the moment. I realize I probably should have just had him heal there. He's not really taking a whole lot of physical damage, so he's not building up a whole lot of meter. Alright. If this lands its charm, then we've essentially won this. Alright, perfect. Alright, so why does that matter? Basically, that guy's going to be doing the most damage. He's going to be... Please roll low. Didn't roll low. Anyway, so that guy's going to be doing the most damage of anybody. Early game casters are just kind of like that. Now, here's the thing. Against us, physical stuff will do more. Casters haven't been doing nearly as much, so you might be wondering why that's the case. So, because physical weapons essentially get a lot of bonus damage, they're breaking through our basic defenses like nothing, so they get all that bonus damage. When it comes to casters, they just have a higher flat amount that they do. Or rather, just a higher... How would I even phrase that properly? It's just basically a higher overall value, but they end up being affected by a threshold a lot more. So think about, like, shotguns from New Vegas or something like that. Alright, we got a Slumber Shot here. We can... Actually, Dark Wave might be the way to go. It's more damage, puts her into a leaden state. That could be useful. I think she wouldn't be able to hop away in that case, too, but leaden didn't land. Anyway, that's fine. So she's going to go ahead and heal him. She's not even going to worry about her own damage for the time being. But anyway, so yeah, when it comes to the casters, he'll do more damage than their physical units would be doing at this point. Alright, you go ahead and chow down on a leaf. We know he doesn't have a finisher, otherwise he would have used a Ren and Gale there. Wow, rolled the 8%, how about that? Works out pretty nicely, because then her 10 health absorbed that 133 he was about to swing. Okay, that didn't quite work out how I wanted, but, you know, it's still pretty good. At least he's not attacking Denim right now. So I think our best bet is actually to focus on him if we can. Unfortunately, our actual attacking options are pretty limited, because really our movement's pretty screwed up right now. I'm thinking if we take some of those middle pillars, maybe. Like, this is one of those maps that really makes you feel how much this game was designed to be played on Law Route first. As you can see, in this direction, this map's a bit of a challenge. Taking it from the other side... It's not necessarily not a challenge, it just doesn't quite work as well. Alright, that'll do slightly too much. That might do just enough. On Charm. Beautiful. Yeah, I think we've got this one in the bag. Basically, we've got Brimstone for an AoE. The natural choice would be right here, but I don't want to get rid of that charm. Heart Crusher's high accuracy, decent damage. Then we've got Dullbind here for locking them in place. I'm not sure locking them in place would necessarily do too much. But it would render them completely worthless for the time being. Alright, didn't land anyway. And actually, if we just attacked one more time, we probably would have gotten access to a Death Whale. Well, whatever. We tried. Not really the attack I was hoping for, but that'll work. That's one less thing that they're doing. And so yeah, we're just going to continue the Death Puddle, slowly work our way up. If Denim gets there first, he gets there first. Optimally, it would have been nice to get a shot off on the wizard, so he's the one getting heals, but she's probably going to heal herself. Yeah. Once Denim gets a full bar, we don't have to worry about that anymore. These 2 tiles out of range for the time being. And yeah, you might be looking at these numbers and thinking like, okay, what's this 40 gonna do when they're hitting 80s? And this is true. All in all, it's giving them a slight chance to survive basic hits. The heavy stuff is always going to be a one-shot. But, little by little. Taking advantage of his height there. Alright, come on, Caster, what you gonna do? Seems like we rolled a pretty good charm on that guy. Alright, if I go here, there's a chance she'll go hide him. Actually, no, if she decides to go run forward, that works out pretty well. Alright. Deathwhale can take out this guy. Done deal. Perfectly balanced skill. I don't know what you're talking about. Much balance, very fair. That's why the AI never gets a hold of it. Like, to their credit, at least they thought that part through. A lot of the super crazy skills are player only. Not a fan of the fact that they gave a lot of gave the player a lot of stuff that the AI can't do, but you know, it made it more friendly, I suppose. Right. I'm not 100% sure on the numbers, but I think it might be the wizard getting healed here. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how often do you think real aqueducts had to deal with large octopi and infesting them? Well, I mean, I'd say probably about 10 out of 10. I mean, where else are you going to put your giant pet octopi? I mean, clearly there's no better possible team to defend your water supply than, you know, octopi and wizards and priests. It's the first natural choice. Nobody would ever think of pipes. It's way too complicated. Alright, so far... yeah, it could definitely be going better. On the plus side, it could be going much worse, too. So we've still got a guy in the back line. We've got enough pressure on the front to keep him from doing too much. If I can get a couple bows on the caster, we could be up to some business here. I was expecting that, and wasn't expecting that. There goes one of my bows. Failseal defended theirs with werewolves and vampires, not traditional or aquatic choice. Yeah, man, can you imagine all that hair getting in there? Oof. Try to go get a drink of water, you just wound up with this weird hamster coming out of your faucet. It's like a weird bloody hair clump. Sure, that must have gotten him at least a few complaints. Alright, so he's going to be ready to assassinate her next round, so I'm just going to take a heal. And at this point, as long as I leave him probably about right here, they shouldn't have any angles to actually do Aqua Bubble. And that's mostly what I'm going to bank on here. If they hit him with a charged Aqua Bubble, he should still survive it. He would need to take both, plus get attacked by the wizard to be taken out. The cleric doesn't have enough movement to really get away from this. And there goes Kashua, that's fine. She really will not be terribly useful. On the plus side, by the way, Mr. Vale, did you see that Failseal's DLC got another update? Let's see, though again, I'd like to point out that Felseal werewolves shave their tummy fur to show off their abs, so it's not as hairy as a proposition as it would be with Dog Soldier werewolves or OB64's Bisky Lavare. You know, you make a solid point there. It's definitely leaning on the Twilight side of those werewolves. Check out my glistening abs, I'm secretly a doge. Alright, Charm wore off. Evan's gonna take a little bit of a cut there. Yeah, she's gonna heal that guy. As long as Denim gets his turn... Yeah, as long as Denim gets his turn, there is nothing they can do. If he doesn't get his turn, we lose. Like, it literally just all comes down to that. Can I make you nap? No, 0% chance of nap. Right, new plan. We're gonna get Felicia up, we're gonna move Evan here out of the way. And what I'm hoping is that this wizard will look over there and be like, hey look, I can incinerate a rookie, man, this is gonna make me feel real good, and, well, there we go, he's just gonna do that. Still incinerating a rookie, it counts. So there we go, that's checkmate. Deathwill does 180 to a boss. So you checked Felseal a few days ago to see the updates. Looks like it's gone well. Not sure I've seen the most recent one. Yeah, I believe it just came out today. Also, there we go. She's gonna disappear up until the end of Chapter 4. But yeah, no, they posted an update that apparently they're adding 60 new gear items. And on top of that, apparently there's actually a pretty extensive update coming to the base game as well. So really looking forward to that one. See, also, Bisky Lavare is a pun on Bisque Labre, one of the oldest werewolf stories, and also one of the few to include French nose puns. I remember you mentioned that. I'm trying to remember. Did I ever end up looking that up? I feel like I did. Dang it, brain, why don't you work to remember stuff? Alright, yeah, I think I'm gonna leave everybody as they are for the time being. Actually, Etzem can probably get promoted, Frisk can probably get promoted, yeah. They can get promoted up to warriors here. So for anyone that missed last time, the reason that I have a few of them as archers, essentially they're training up some of their early skills in order to, hopefully be useful here. Actually, I forgot to pick up Field Elk, right? So the only way to get an early Field Elk here is with the Archer, because for some reason they felt it needed to be overpowered at all parts of the game. So funnily enough, Archers are actually the best healer in the early game. Because of course, why wouldn't they be? So there we go, we'll slap that on there. Don't worry, we'll get to the point where everyone eats rocks later. Now for the time being... they're just going to learn to be weapon masters. And yeah, just kind of brief follow-up on why exactly we're doing it this way. Essentially, if you have certain weapon skills, they will resist that weapon on top of being better with it. So yeah, essentially we change them over to the warrior. They have access to almost all weapon types, meaning that they can resist almost all weapon types, which is especially handy for, well, basically allowing them to survive one extra hit whenever something comes their way. Not really assigning them weapon types in any particular order, although hammers and one-handed swords are going to be the more or less priority, simply because they're the most common. And they tend to do the most at this point. Alright, whips and cudgels they'll basically never run into, and then axes are the next one. You'd think it would be two-handed swords, but no, they're just not very good. Oh right, I can't even retreat. Oh well. So, on to Aciton. This one's a little bit trickier, as you'd expect. And Law Route basically involves running down a bunch of clerics, just all the clerics. So I guess where half of Law Route, you're just like, well, time to go run down the clergy. Now, this would be the first chance to actually pick up a few skills here off of these golems, if I actually had a warlock yet. So whatever skills golems can get, we can learn. So let's see what they have so far. So we'll be able to get Rampart Aura, which warriors can learn, so that's handy. Knockback, Counterattack. Counterattack's going to be the big one, because it allows for training stuff a lot faster. That's why I didn't train up most of the weapon skills up to this point. Fortify, Grandifist won't do anything. Resist Charm is beyond worthless. Strengthen, and Strengthen. So, okay. But basically, first rank of Strengthen, it's not bad. We're not going to be able to do any damage to those, by the way. Our literal only goal is to get a full meter and unleash that on the leader, and we're done here. We don't necessarily have to waste a teleport in order to be able to do that, because I want to be able to save it for now. Because I might need a few later, and I only have 4 left. Alright, see you there, Photos. You have yourself a good one. Have a nice, satisfying day, and safe apocalypse. Okay. It's actually funny because this also kind of almost doubles as a warrior-only run. And thank you for the follow. Greatly appreciate it. And yeah, we already have 1 random KO to a crit. Get used to seeing that. Until we pick up Anatomy, get ready to see people getting KO'd constantly. Like, this is the point where stuff starts getting really dire. Now, unfortunately, we're basically going to have to get rid of this guy because he's going to be harassing us the entire time. I believe he's got Brimstone Hail on him. And we don't really have any way to grind up effectively for the time being. No, he doesn't have Brimstone Hail. Okay. But he does have Anatomy. We don't have an option to just eat the birdie, so unfortunately, yeah, no Anatomy for us yet. Such is going to be the case. Yes, I should have used the weak as Hell Archer in order to get Felicia 2 up. Yes, it would have been the optimal choice. No, I didn't do it. No one said I had a functional brain, it's just technically existent. Alright, you can't even heal. Go ahead and pow this guy then. Yes, it takes the entire team to take down one guy. That's how you know we're good. Also, thank you for the host there, Mr. Spirwa. Appreciate it. Haven't seen you in a minute. How's it going? Appreciate it, thank you. Yeah, so far we don't need luck, we need full meters. Every time somebody gets a full meter, something drops. Been decent, having a safe apocalypse. But yeah, as you can see, we're gonna start getting granite fisted real good here. Golems, I feel, have some hidden stats that they just never tell you about. Because they seem to have an unusually high crit rate, they also seem to be unusually accurate considering their accuracy is about 25% most of the time. But, oh well, so he's gonna barely get away. See if maybe she can finish him off. Yeah, she can finish him off. Good. So yeah, this one's gonna be messy. I have a good number of short bows here. Can barely scratch her. Let's see, I'm assuming you disabled the XP gain with a cheat? That I did. That I did. And I wasn't sure at first if this was even going to be possible, but I went ahead and tested it. And, well, it did seem to be theoretically possible, and then I figured, you know what, why not make it generic only as well? So no Chariot, generic only. No retreat, all that kind of... Actually, no, wait, retreat is allowed because it's one of the only ways to actually train up. Because you basically can't even win a fight until you have rank 2 at least. So, it's a time. It's a time for sure. I don't even know why I'm carrying this. No, I hit circle. Why did it... No viewer generics? Yeah, there's a few. I'm still gonna need a few later. We've got Evan here. We've got, well, Cheese Stick is just named this because my daughter started yelling for Cheese Sticks when I was looking for a name. We got Steve from one of the other runs. We've got Sven Drigan over here, except he's a Sven lady now. We've got Cerebro over here. For some reason, well, it was supposed to be a determination run, so we got Frisk from Undertale here. We got Felicia too, so we can add you in here. Not Aerosol. Yeah, it's Diet Aerosol. We basically have to kill off every recruitable character that we get. Because, yeah, one of the funny parts of doing it this way is that you actually have pretty much no skills that you can get. You have to scavenge every skill that you get. In fact, there's only 2 recruit skills that are even available using this method, and it's going to be a little bit of a minute till we get one of those. But we're basically trying to get to Farampa as soon as possible in order to be able to recruit golems, in order to be able to use whatever passives they have, in order to be able to get anatomy for everyone. Once we get anatomy, we can hopefully survive more than one turn. Because right now their skill sets are looking a little bit like this. Every rank of this gives them a very slight defense bonus. I think it's like 3 or 4 extra defense versus that particular weapon, which is then allowing them to survive some hits a little bit. Once we get access to counter hit, then we'll be able to rank all those up to level 8. So that's... don't worry, I'm going to do that off screen. Like, all the extensive grinding is done elsewhere. And so yeah, bear in mind we're expecting to get all the way to final lands this way. So level 50 fully maxed out lands in the friggin' past. There's ways. There's ways. You're giving them all weapon skills so that they get hit by anything and rank something up? No. That's an added benefit, although it's really slow to do it that way. But no, basically, the way that it works is when it's assigned, it gives them a very small point value based on rank per each thing. So it basically gives them, I think it's like 3 or 4 toughness, so that's your base defense. It's like your base defensive score, plus it gives them 3 accuracy and then 4 extra attack score. So basically they have a very, very, very slightly higher damage threshold. Although I will say, as you may be noticing, I have a feeling that the lower something's level is, the more likely they are to take a hit. Or rather, the more likely they are to take a crit. From what I've seen, like in most RPGs, they do it the opposite way. So you know they're overconfident because they're stronger, so they end up taking a crit more likely. And that that way feels nice. But I honestly feel like in this one they did it the exact opposite way. Because when I was doing the testing run all the way through, it seemed like they were just regularly taking crits every round. But yeah, pretty much every special is going to be an insta-kill. And unfortunately, yeah, I think we are going to have to make use of the warp. Right. So we're going to get the warp ready. We're going to need to bring down... yeah, I have one Savage Horn. I need to ruin their accuracy. So what I'm going to do is going to take a Strengthen. He's going to run off to the side and start running past all this. Because he needs to be able to do a breakout. Unfortunately, that requires them running this way, because these golems are going to completely ruin our movement. If I can get them cut off over here... Alright, we're going to put you up as a distraction. And yeah, so it's one of the reasons I was really looking forward to this run. Because there's a lot of cool little things. I mean, I was never going to try it up until I found out about that weapon trick, and I was like, you know what? There's never a reason why that would ever be useful except for this one run right here. So yeah, if you ever wondered why it was that whenever you were like fighting a two-hander specialist with a two-hander, they seemed to be doing a lot better, well, there you go. And/or a lot worse, depending on the rank difference. It's a neat little touch. I'm gonna heal... normally I haven't been healing Kasha, I'm just gonna heal her up just so we get a little bit of extra help here. I have no choice but to have her in this fight, so that doesn't count as deploying a special unit. Also, I'll mention that for Coda, You're required to have a few of them. So since you are required to have the main trio, I'm probably going to add them to the team. Mostly just for convenience, because I don't want them getting knocked out constantly once we get to the last fight. Which I don't think anyone can realistically fall me for that one at that point, because it's like, for Casual it'd be like a 5 RT difference, for Vice it's like a 3 RT difference or something like that. They're very slightly faster than most other generics, and by that point they'll be really underleveled and underskilled. Right. But we'll see. We'll see. Like, it's only Vice and Casual that you're required to have in the last fight, and if they get knocked out... Actually, wait a minute, we're not going for that route, so screw it. No, we don't need them. What am I saying? We don't even need them. We need them to be in the team, they can be recruited, we don't actually have to do anything with them. I thought I was going for One-Eyed Night Slayer for this, but there's really no sense in doing that, because it's technically the same fight, just with a slightly different outcome. Like, really, really slightly, so I guess it's more a breaker of the wheel run. Literally the only difference is, did you bring the main trio? So whatever. Well, okay, you know what, actually, I'll take that back. If we get to the point that I feel confident enough that just the main trio that we can do One-Eyed Night Slayer at level 1, I feel like that'll probably be the best way to do that. Also, by the way, every debuff forever will land, just don't question it. So we're gonna leapfrog with Blessing Stones here. The idea being that we get some of them past the casters. We just kind of use everybody else as a distraction, sneak our way back there. Kind of do the AoE 2 thing, where we just keep coming back to life after somebody's already clearly won. And yeah. That's how we're gonna do this thing. See, honestly, after the fairy run, I don't feel like any run's too hard, except for Griffins. That one... Obviously, that one beat you hard. Yeah, it was a different version of Griffins. Base... You know what? I never did the base game with Griffins, come to think of it. Because, like, yeah, OV Griffins are designed a decent bit differently. Just because base game Griffins can get past damage threshold a lot easier. So, I mean, I feel like it would probably be easier than the fairy run. I mean, technically speaking, we haven't done the base game with fairies either. I did just one vision. You know, come to think of it, we should do that. After this run, we need to do vanilla fairy only. Alright. That summon is just going to continue sitting here. I can't believe I forgot to give them their item skill. But yeah, this is by far the most difficult run of this particular game that I can ever think of. I mean, I've done throwing rock only, and it was easier than this. Because throwing rock only, you can abuse the leveling mechanics. For this one, it completely gets rid of one of the most busted things for getting through the story. Also, wait, what? I didn't even hit triangle there. Weird. But my goal for this one is just to unlock Farampa for now. And then once that's unlocked, I want to pick up a Warlock. At least one Warlock mark. Every single one will drop a, well, it has the chance to drop a mark. So, it also kind of depends how we do it. There's actually a few class marks that we can steal as well. So if we end up getting Rogues first, we can just get Steal on somebody, just steal it from Warlock. Otherwise, we can go the other way. Alright, get her back up on her feet, because Cheese Stick is actually our best archer. And gonna re-up Strengthen on Gordon here. Master of the Impossible, or King of the Impossible, there we go. Alright, so we've got the guy on the right locked down. You have lives, you have lives. Okay, let's get Steve up. Just throw rocks everywhere. Just make these guys feel like the dang Elite Four or something like that. Like, oh, we see that you all lost a 10-year-old. How'd that happen? Like, well, you prevented us from using items, and this little douche just comes in and starts throwing friggin' diamonds at all his dead animals. How are we supposed to compete with that? Alright. Though I have to say, did anybody else have that moment in the first 3 Pokemon games? Like, where they realized that they were out of money, like, they accepted the losses and whatever else, but then you get to the very end and it's like, okay, I've attempted this several times, and there's no money left in the bank, I can't get any more full restores or whatever else. And so you're just there trying to strategize the hell out of it to manage to kind of just barely get through with, like, 4 items. Man. First time through Yellow was wild. You ever want to go back in time and just, like, look at your terrible runs from when you were 10 or something like that? It's like, go back and see the bizarre way you played through something. Like, I mean, it's why I've been loving the hell out of Ultimate Iron Man mode and RuneScape there. Because, truth be told, it's how I originally played the game. Like, once you actually learn it, it's not that difficult. Honestly, there's a lot of really simple tricks to everything. It's one of those ones that within a few hours you can make your character super rich, you can go pretty much afford to max out whatever skill. Like, if you learn the tricks, it's a really fun one to optimize. But man, oh man, if you if you want to try that mode, you just get ready to play like an idiot. So, for anyone unfamiliar with it, the idea is you're essentially going through an MMO that functionally plays like a strategy RPG. Like, everything's based off of tiles, and like, you basically have turns. It is in real time, but when you play it, you see the ticks happening. So you know, like, okay, it's gonna be like 2 ticks till that guy can heal. You know, I can scarf down a couple things, can start up the special in that time. You know, maybe swap out some gear to resist whatever I think he's gonna swap into next a little bit better. It's a really fun but surprisingly basic strategy that goes on there. It's like, you're basically... Imagine if it was Resident Evil, right? Except you basically have Resident Evil with PvP. Like, yes, you're both essentially competing with your piles of different stuff, but then you're equipping different things under different circumstances to try to wear out the other guy's situation a little bit better. You know, do you take a chance on a debuff? Or do you decide to just, try to see if you can get a max hit off while you have a second? You know, do you try to prevent him from running away and then run off and take a double shot with a bow or something? Then there's a surprising amount of strategy to it. But yeah, that mode, essentially what it does, instead of having a bank like you would for most MMOs, you lose access to bank. You can't trade with people. You can't use any store that's overstocked. So basically, you're functionally playing in a single player without any item storage. You get access to your house later on, and you have some things that you can store there if you have the entire set. But for the most part, like, you're basically just running around with whatever's on your back, and if you die, you lose everything. Now, you still have your character's stats; they're still technically existent, even though it's an Iron Man mode. It's basically like your character's still alive, but all the stuff that you work to collect, all of your whatever unique items you might have picked up or whatever else, them things are gone. So now you're suddenly stuck in a situation where you're effectively you're effectively hoboing it through the entire game, and it's way more fun than you might think. Like, you start thinking of all these really bizarre routes through it, and it just feels good. I love any challenge that lets you do that. It just makes you, completely rethink the route that you want to go through. Like, for example, if you wanted to train up your character as a caster or whatever else, you'd just go to the what's effectively the eBay of the game. You'd go to the exchange, you'd go buy a bunch of what's effectively magic ammo, because your character isn't actually like magical. They have some limited abilities they can do, but for the most part, you're stuck on using this different combinations of reagents to be able to use it. Right. First off, this counts as a direct hit, right? Okay, good. Well, that's going to be a checkmate for this one. But anyway, so yeah, you just basically go in there, you'd find whatever has the most health, and you'd sit there and you'd basically spam the most, the highest level thing you had at the time. Or you'd sit there and you'd buy a pile of items and just start turning them into gold or whatever else. Which, being an alchemist, is surprisingly profitable in that one. But anyway, so there's no classes or anything. You're just basically a character learning a pile of different skills. Essentially, think like Morrowind, but it's online. But it plays like Tactics Ogre. it's such a funky game. Anywho. So it's funny that instead of just going to the store and handling all that stuff immediately, and instead, was just sitting down and looking at it. It's like, okay, I can go to the store, I can go smith some stuff, I can sell it, I can get just enough of these runes to, to use it like 1,500 times. Run over to this volcano, go shoot at some demon things in order to get a bunch of decent drops. Essentially, use those to go fund another expedition to go fight some giant things in order to get the runes to alchemize some of those things. In order to be able to afford some melee stuff to go get defense up, to go get a helmet that I got from earlier. It's fun to optimize that one. Anyway, so sorry, had to be AFK, had a phone call, and then had the urge to make pancakes. So I'll be making those in a bit. Hot dang. Pancakes are delicious. Depends on how you do them, I suppose. In general, it's safe to assume pancakes are delicious. Alright, so. The party is still garbage. Probably want to pick up a few more of these. Yes, they're expensive. Somehow we can afford spending 42 grand per fight. Don't worry about it. After the first Varampa run, we're friggin' loaded. Alright, so now it's Aracel. Still running a pretty suboptimal team here, as you can see. We have two characters that can be very effective. We've got a few that are marginally effective. And then, yeah. So there's Aracel. We are going to need your shooting abilities later. They're not making it one way or the other. Now, this is one of the ones that I was saying it's very likely that we're actually going to need to take a few losses. Now, let's see. I end up beating a lot of air into the batter and adding enough flour to make the batter itself thick, and then fry a Teflon pan without oil, and the result being airy, thick pancakes that don't grease your fingers. Delicious. Yeah, personally, I like doing, I like making oat cakes. So you basically sort of start with a pancake mix, then you mix in some oatmeal. You oil the crap out of that pan, but then you also mix in a few extra eggs and some bacon. And then you basically let it heat till the oil is almost black. You basically drop everything in there while putting a second pan on top so that it sort of cooks on both sides, because otherwise it'll end up turning into this goopy mess. But essentially, if you pressure cook it like that, as well as like shock cooking it on the bottom, you can flip it over and you essentially just have this giant oat cookie. And you just like slather some jam on there. It's delicious. I like whenever going to work, I like taking one of those and then just cutting it up into chunks and putting it in a bowl and then just eating that while driving, minus the jam. If you're feeling like dry food, you have it without jam. If you're feeling like enjoying it, you have some jam on that sucker. Alright, you go and have yourself some pancakes, Mr. Spearwell. I love that we have all these conversations about pancakes and waffles lately. Also, you know what? This right here, this more or less sums up current events. Like, I saw this really good video the other day. I forget who exactly it was. It just kind of randomly started auto-playing. But in terms of the weird political bullcrap that's going on everywhere right now, that's but yeah, essentially there's more or less a massive dispute in the U.S. right now between really rich folks and not so rich folks, and well, not that that's any kind of new revelation of any kind. It's been going on since forever, but I mean in terms of like the lengths people are going to make folks vote against themselves and things like that. Gladly sporting stuff that ends up hurting them in the long run. Just because somebody convinced them that they have more in common with a billionaire guy than somebody else. It's weird. Life's weird right now. Not that it's been any weird any less weird before that, but right, I mean, when you kind of have a choice of would you like to stay at home and essentially have a paid vacation, or would you like to, you know, go outside and choke to death, you'd assume most folks would be like, oh yeah, free vacation sounds great, I'm gonna do that. And yeah, apparently... apparently not quite the, not quite the obvious answer would be for some. Anywho. So for this one, same as before, all we really gotta do is get down up close and get a death whale out. We'll really start being able to use most of the team later, but for now these fights just need to end as quickly as possible, and you can see why. Because we need to get past Vice. Once Vice is gone, Farump opens up, we get access to golems, we can start doing some stuff. Until then, we're kinda just stuck. Like, we're just slowly gonna be carving our way through like this. And it's a good thing that Farump comes as early as it does, because if it didn't, well, there's not really much we'd be able to do. Hi there, Aphelium. Don't go outside, because 5G causes the virus. Oh yeah, that whole nonsense. No, the best part is when you see folks going and, like, okay, when there's folks, like, doing this whole thing where they're like, oh man, some giant corporations want you to stay inside, which, no, they're more or less going to be the ones funding people to go complain about people not going outside. But then at the same time, they're like, oh, it's completely fake. Let me wear this mask to show you how fake it is. It's just... man, it's so weird. It's so weird. I don't know, man. I don't know. Also, wait, that's not what I meant to do. Yeah, we're gonna take one of the warps here. Because pretty soon she's gonna have a finisher. So what I can do is I can warp him up here, he's gonna take some damage. No, we're gonna go here because I want him to not be barred from traveling further. So he's gonna take a little bit of damage, we're gonna have other units on standby to heal him up. And then hopefully the finisher doesn't go towards him. Use the daggers to kind of quick cut our way through here. And once again, I forgot to give everyone Field Alchemy. Brilliant. Debuffs still do nothing. And yeah, since it's obligatory to mention every time, everybody don't forget to take your daily glass of bleach, apparently. But, life is weird right now. Anyone else regularly think this must be a dream or something? This feels so surreal. Okay, I think he's almost at 100 now. All just a simulation? Certainly feels that way. Except somebody swapped out the simulation file for idiocracy, apparently. I mean, honestly, if there was a news announcement that suddenly the new policy is to water all plants with Gatorade, it somehow wouldn't be surprising. Alright, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a let me see something. Yeah, there's a small chance here. If I have one of my guys take a short bow shot. Huh. Yeah, if I have one of them take a short bow shot and we end up, oh, get out of here. Get out of here with that. Usually the odds of that hitting are so low, it's just not something you even think about. Okay, crap. That couldn't be better timed either. Because there's nothing I can do about that. Come on! Come on! Like, it stands to reason, it makes sense. But come on! Seriously, the odds of that are so low to hit that even with, even being stuck at level 1 in Chapter 2, it still only had a 60% chance to actually hit. Alright, so... basically what that translates to is I gotta make sure to keep a hold of something that can undo that. What I was gonna say is if I have one of my units here that can actually take a shot, then it would be possible to take a hit with him, put him up to 100 TP, he circles around to hit Aircell in the back with a Death Whale, and we're good. Unfortunately, that didn't quite happen. Alright. There we go, that'll do it. Now I just need somebody to run up and heal him. Please don't finish him off. Oh, son of a dick. Yeah, we might have to redo this one. Just because of that one charm of all things. Man. Well played, what can I say? Well played. I suppose it's not impossible. And technically speaking, we've got some options. You can definitely see how much faster they are at this point, though. And you might be saying, you know, the armor's barely protecting at all, why bother wearing it at all? Strangely enough, those first few points of damage thresholds seem to benefit unusually high. So when I was going and testing to see if it actually would be more practical just to get rid of all equipment entirely, it wasn't the case. Alright, just throw the WAP 2 here. On her next turn, somebody's going down. Alright, she's gonna finish her, right? Yeah, so she's got finishers. Alright, I'm just gonna throw this out there to get some damage off. I feel like probably picking up a few scrolls before this wouldn't be a terrible idea either. I don't think the tier 2s are available, but it wouldn't be a terrible idea. Yeah, we're not even going to be able to get him up here. We need that knight to move, which is pretty unlikely. I probably should have left a space open for him to flank around, but then that berserker probably would have taken that spot. Best case scenario, we can take that right side. I really wish that one of those two would finally get their chance to move there. But the turns are not lining up that way. Unfortunately, they keep getting spiked the moment they get right back up. Perfect. Not so perfect. Please move. Right. Yeah, and they get thrown back in the turn order even farther. All I can do is just kind of leapfrog our way forward. And there's the only one that had a chance of actually pulling off another finisher and maybe getting us back in the game. The entire left side is toast. Man, because of that one Chaldia. Seriously, has anybody ever been hit by the Chaldia in base game? Just out of curiosity. Has that ever worked? Yeah, if I can get up those stairs on the left side, then I might be able to get Gordon up. Eventually, maybe last this out long enough to to get somewhere. Yeah, funnily enough, this fight's actually a decent bit more difficult than the Vice fight, which you'd think would be the kind of the big danger one. But for one thing, we don't have to take any time to take the Dragoon marks, because they don't really have anything that we can make use of. And for the other, we actually just need to take out one guy. I mean, it's a big ol' open area. The boss is accessible right from the get-go. In this case, it's only because she's so hard to get to, and the fact that she's actually got reasonable defense. So it needs to be a death whale to do it. It can't be plinking from anything else. She's got access to healing. They've got healing from multiple sources, so they can't heal up. And the fact that they've got ranged units every frickin' where. Alright, so the only real changes that are needed to make this possible, I need to actually remember to put on Field Alchemy for those units that needed it. They actually could have, the left side could have survived and actually supported. Unfortunately, that couldn't happen simply because they never really got a chance to use their healing items, because they forgot how to use them. They know the skill, but they never put it on. And yeah, aside from that, we should be golden. You have returned? Well, speaking of pancakes, the entire team. Yeah, no, I don't know if you were here for that part, but of all things, of all friggin' things, do you remember seeing a Caldia ever hit in the base game? Of all things, a cleric pulls out the friggin' shiny fan, and Denham's like, ooh, you know, I want to get busy with that. And so, yeah, he got charmed on the turn that he was going to go assassinate Aerosol. And, yeah. Because he was supposed to either heal, or he was supposed to get hit and finish the fight. And, she comes in with a even at level 1, it was only 60% chance to hit. It's just kind of amazing. The thing is so inaccurate, it never ever comes up. But yeah. Alright. We still have plenty of those. Those that were needed. Right. So tier 2s are actually available, so I think what I might as well do here. Go pick up a few Spirit Surges, I think. Pick up a few Judgments, just to be able to throw those out there. Cap out on Exorcisms again. Boon of Swiftness, that'd be... Screw it, cap out on those. Yeah, we're gonna pick up a few Awakens here, so that doesn't happen again. Major Heal wouldn't be a bad idea. So yeah, I would say we're running low on space, but or rather, running low on items. Actually, we're gonna need broadswords. Axes will keep. There we go, back above 100. Never gonna be able to use great bows, never those. Blowguns, believe it or not, we will potentially use a little while later, but that's a long story. And these guys are so weak they can never actually even pick up a pair of leather gloves. Because why not? Alright. Next order of business. Let me double check something right here. So they're maxed out for crossbows. They're using crossbows. You okay, Mr. Pugman? Alright, maxed out for crossbows, but using bows. Get that crossbow on there. Oh, so we gotta recruit a Spherewood, don't we? That is one very high-dex Spherewood. Okay. So, by the way, if anyone's ever wondered what the deal is with alignment in this game, as far as it's known, there's only one effect that alignment has. Actually, there's two effects that alignment has. If you go neutral, and you have characters that are very lawful, basically they'll get slightly more pissed off, and then if you have a lawful character, they will refuse to counterattack other lawful characters on their own team. So, yeah, that's it. Galgastani, though? That's not actually a bad thing in this. It just means you're super into necromancy, it's fine. But yeah, rolling decks that high doesn't come up very often. Wait a minute, why do I keep putting Spy? Why do I keep putting Spy? Brain! It's right there. It's right there! Use the brain with the thinky parts. There we go, you're... Did I spell that right? Yes. You're technically in the team, you will not be used for a very long time still. We're gonna need more later, but for the time being, you and Vale are over here in the reserve pile for the moment, only because a few fights I ended up deploying the wrong characters, and so... Yeah, it was supposed to actually be Vale, not Etzum, that was used here, but it's fine, it's fine. Once we get access to Farampo, once we get access to golems that we can sacrifice for skills, and we can actually get everybody training up anatomy and all that kind of business, then we'll actually get everybody properly trained up. Because I need two sets of characters. One set of characters will be sacrificed later. Alright. And yeah, that's all we really have to elaborate on that one. There we go there. Make sure everyone's using their proper weapons at this point. Because yeah, originally most of them were running crossbows. Alright, so they're almost at rank 8. That's good enough. Alright, Cerebeau, you're a bow user. Give them a little bit more to work with. Cheese Stick, and then Steve is one of the new guys. Frisk is new. Alright, there we go. So that should give us a pretty decent punch in both healing and offense. And that's what makes this run fun! Just these little weird optimizations, you know? Feels nice. And this is against level 9. We're gonna have to be able to beat a actually ranked up level 50 in an entire team of them with pretty high base stats once we get to the very end of this. It's fine, that's no problem whatsoever. Alright, so here's the deal. We are going to send a bunch of them up to the front. They're not going to do anything. I'm going to send a bunch down the right. The middle section is going to probably get interrupted, but they're going to try to break off into the left, try to leave one unit to hold the center. This should, if everything goes well, create a situation where their knights are locked down at the very front. We can have a few running down the right side. Hopefully build up finishers from several angles to pull this off. Might be able to take out one of the birds. No word on most of the rest of this. If she crits, they're just gone. Alright. So it's gonna be like this. And we're gonna use a Wheel of Fortune right here. He's gonna take a few hits to shield the right side team, and he's also gonna get buffed by one of the other people coming up. He's gonna warp onto the roof and start harassing their healer. This should essentially lock her down for 2 turns. Okay, unfortunately we already lost one. Oh, okay, we barely didn't lose one, actually. Just barely didn't lose one because that spear is a nightmare, so we gotta get rid of that spear as soon as possible. Alright, thankfully, good thing we picked up, wait. That's a misclick. And allow a return, turn reset on that one for the misclick. So it's supposed to be right here. Bonk, bonk, bonk. Alright. Gonna leave him right there. You're gonna start moving this way. Right, and then sidestep on Gordon. I don't really trust in his ability to dodge anything, but he's the most likely to have a not 100% chance to be hit. Right. Throw one more multi-heal. Now, normally I'd go for the item heals in these situations, but in this case, this has a chance to heal around 80, as opposed to the item healing around 75, so consider it a good trade. We're gonna throw out some bonus swiftness on the other side, but for now basic heals here. Just throw cash at the problem, why not? Right. Another BOS on you. Now, the downside of the crossbows is, aside from their grenade launcher move, they basically have to have direct line of sight to work. Benefit of the bows is they can just kind of land their shots wherever. So if we had a bunch of bow specialists, which we've got 3 of, most of the female characters are using bows, then we'd be able, then essentially we'd be able to just go in and throw a bunch of stuff vertically from behind walls. But Death Whale is the only one that's guaranteed to be one-shot. The bow would typically take about 2 or 3. But right now I'm feeling pretty confident. We're finally getting our turns ahead of theirs. Also, he's over there, he's lying. He was saying he never cared about power. Man, there's no electricity anywhere, of course you want power. There we go, nice happy heal. Unfortunately, despite having higher speed, there's some cases where there's just not too much we'll be able to do. Actually, this is one of the reasons that we're going to be making some pretty decent use of rogues later on. As well, Speed Star isn't available. Like, funnily enough, Speed Star is kind of a trap because you basically spend as much time to use it as it would take to just, you know, not use it. So you're better off just waiting instead of using Speed Star under most circumstances. Also, what am I doing here exactly? Why did I... No. Get that misclick nonsense out of here. Alright, so that'll get these two over here, and that'll drag Spear Guy off to the left. Might as well go for the multi-heal. Okay. So we got Not Aerosol down the middle. Get a few more speed ups. Basically, the idea behind these speed-ups is not actually to attack sooner, but just to try to get us into position a tiny bit faster. We can just get kind of interweave our turns between theirs. Then we have more options for actually responding to things. Let's see. Me, it's a melanistic leopard, aka a panther. Spell check, did you mean it's a mechanical leopard? Yes! It's a Zoid. Should be a mechanical leopard way, isn't it? No, or mechanical leopard, sorry. Mechanical leopard just sounds like Robocop. Did Dr. Wily from Mega Man just write the spell check app? Nah. Leopard Man would probably just be there throwing boomerang clubs or something. And yeah, as much as I want to help out that left side, instead we're going to speed up the entirety of the right side. Yes, Aerocel's entirely on the left. The middle is very exposed right now. But there we go. See? These little speed-ups already paying off. Now we can get in there with a few heals. Just soak up the damage as much as possible. Try to keep just trying to keep as many units as possible until we can surround Aerocel, then just completely pummel with everything. Because while we're sitting here and stalling for time, we have the added benefit of building up meter. So probably within a couple rounds here, if we can still keep everybody standing, we might be able to mop up some of these birds. Should give us a little bit more breathing room. As long as nobody crits and insta-kills anyone. This one puts the tactics into Tactics Ogre. Gotta have the tactics. Tic Tac's gore is an anagram of Tactics Ogre. Oh god. Would you like these Tic Tacs? They look like little livers. Why, thank you, sir. It's what I've always wanted. Alright. Alright. As much as I need her on the left, she's not the one with the finisher, so I'm gonna have to throw out another heal here. And yeah, this one, the purpose of this run is just kind of to dive deep and get all of the cheesy mechanics. Just take care of all of it at once. Because again, the only purpose of the Throwing Rock only run was to show off the kinds of weird crap you can do with that. Also, there's an opportunity here. Because if your enemy is standing right in front of you, clearly you offer them a drink. So you just basically blast her over the head with a bottle, I guess. Alright, she's gonna go for one of the rookies. Her defense is down. Right now, I believe... I think Denim is one tile off from being able to take a shot. With that bird moved, that situation might have improved. Unclear. I mean, functionally speaking right now, this is basically playing like X Division. Yeah, we have the one guy that needs healing on the right side. I want that speed up happening, though. We're going to create a wall right there. You're going to get Steve patched up. That'll be enough for him to survive one more melee hit. Put one Blessing Stone there. If he can move behind the Amazon on the left, yeah, that's worth doing. Please don't crit. Thank you. Alright. I want to heal the one on the left, but because of the spear situation, I'm trying to leave no tiles where they can double stab. Because that thing was downright oppressive, and we should probably get used to spears being crazy oppressive during the course of this. Again, at least until we get Anatomy. So, if you're wondering what the deal is with Anatomy, it's not actually just an offensive bonus. See, we're going to be making use of the weird way that scaling works in this game. Because if you ever wondered, playing through, why on earth, you know, you run into those situations where you have an archer, right? And suddenly they go from, like, okay, you're like at rank 4 or whatever else, you take a shot on, say, a Berserker or something like that. They've got a pretty standard bow, you know, they're doing maybe 20 or so. You know, nothing too spectacular. From there, you know, you go a little bit farther. Suddenly you're realizing, okay, you know, they're, you know, upgraded their bow a little bit. Suddenly they're doing about 80. You know, suddenly they get up to rank 8. You decide to leave them grinding for a little while. Suddenly they're doing like 250 per shot. Now, functionally speaking, from those 4 ranks, you essentially ended up getting roughly 16 extra base attack power. Doesn't seem like it would be very much. From that bow upgrade, you got maybe 15. You know, it doesn't seem like it'd be very much, but all of it just keeps scaling and scaling and scaling and scaling and scaling, and it all stacks on top of itself until you get something ridiculous. And so basically what we're doing is taking advantage of that scaling and the fact that some of them work in unusual ways in order to just barely be able to still keep doing damage to stuff in places that we're clearly not supposed to be able to. So there we go. Now, this should be the win right here. Yes. Checkmate. Like, for example, the basic crossbow getting turned into an SMG. So there we go. Retreat, I don't have any arms left. And yeah, we pulled it off. So right here, what's happening is essentially there's a flat damage applied to Death Whale, which is basically meant to allow it to get past defenses, even in cases where, you know, the base weapon might not necessarily be up to scratch. So while you have an attack score, it's still starting off from a higher point. Plus, it's a multi-hit attack, which is why it needs that base score to begin with. Their idea being that it's kind of locked into this smaller range that you're technically not supposed to be able to wipe out a bunch of stuff, right? But since we have it ranked all the way up, we're getting that scaled up damage. So it's essentially it's technically 8 extra attack on top of the rank that it would have been unlocked. So yeah, it's a little bit better. We were only doing up to 70 per shot there because of the breach. It probably would have been about 50. She still would have retreated, but it probably wouldn't have been a kill otherwise. So essentially that's given us another 20% past their damage threshold. And again, that's just past threshold, not necessarily anything else. Right, this... Whew, okay. So, Zapan. Let's see what we do. This one I actually haven't tested, so we'll see how this works out. If we can just get to the leader, we should be solid. If we can't recruit Zapan, that's fine. Alright, so this guy's 1 level higher. A Berserker, so still not going to be really high defense. That's not your buddies, a panda? What are you talking about? It's totally them. They love pink pants, don't they? That's Pirate Darza. I mean, yes, but also no. Alright. Actually, that makes no sense. It's absolutely just yes on that one. So what we're gonna do is get Denim right into the thick of it. See, what we need is for Zapan to survive until we get down here. Or until their leader gets down here. So Darza will charge. No matter what you do, he'll charge down. Whether Zapan survives is kind of up to you on that one, and also what equipment he comes in with. Also... Wait, why are we saving you again? I mean, I guess strengthen ain't bad. Well, we'll try to save him. Honestly, if he doesn't get saved, I'm not too fussed. By this point on the Chaos route or the Neutral route, we actually would already have access to 3 units with Anatomy. And then once we killed off all the Neutral characters, we'd essentially... Well, we'd be a decent bit higher than that. Because yeah, Neutral and Chaos just... Well, just Neutral. Early Chaos gives you a bunch of stuff, later Chaos does not. Meanwhile, Neutral, you just piles on those recruitables like crazy. Call him Zapanda, because maybe it's better for everyone if he just goes extinct. Wow. Dark. Although, to be fair, Panda is kind of just implied to be a very, I guess you could call it kind of an Eastery thing right now. Because apparently, they were having issues with Panda's mating and stuff like that, and apparently, or appendedly, if you will, Pandas have been getting down to business like nobody's business with this nice little apocalypse going on, so, you know, good for the Pandas. They're off to Little Fuzzy Freaky Town over there. See, my alternate take was they call him Zapanda because he just doesn't give any help. Okay, we got to the same location there. They do right now. They do right now. I just like to think we didn't actually buy a bunch of speed-up scrolls. We're just there with just a giant espresso machine, just Svendringen's just running out there. Just, everyone's going, and they're running in with one of those like old football beer cups nobody uses anymore, but they still advertise with for some reason. Has anybody seen one of those since the 90s, out of curiosity? Because they're always used in advertisements for football and stuff like that, but I've literally never seen one, even for sale or anything else. Dang it. Stupid insta-death crits. Alright, so Darza's gonna be taking me up there. Baby Boomer Panda's incoming. Oh, they're gonna complain about how everyone's handling that economy they ruined? How dare you have trouble when I set you up to fail? So yeah, even our strongest character, with maxed out rank, can do 1 damage. That's a sign of things to come, don't worry. Anyway, right now we don't really want him to attack anyway. And yeah, if we end up recruiting Zapan, if he ended up getting strengthened from him, I'm fairly certain he can do a little bit better. But yeah, we're just gonna ignore these guys at the start here. Essentially just gonna pull an AoE 2 raid here. Actually, I played this really fun game with my brother not that long ago. That's, oh man, it was fantastic. So, we were trying to make it a 2v2 kind of thing, but nobody was showing up. It was kind of late in the day. So anyway, he was going Lithuanians, I was going Teutons on it. Because, quite frankly, like, yeah, the Teutons are kind of a thing to get going, but man, once you get going, it's dumb how good they can be. For anyone unfamiliar, the Teutons' whole gimmick in AoE 2 is just they have extra armor on all their infantry, and on top of that, they have the bulkiest infantry that you can get. So essentially, the trick there... oh yeah, and on top of that, you can slap even more infantry on all their siege weapons, so what you do is make a bunch of just stupid strong trash units. You support them with the Teutonic Knights. So, like, functionally speaking, for a frame of reference, most of the units are coming in with like 30 to 50 health. Teutonic Knights are coming in there with 200, and on top of that, they're taking 1 damage from everything. So here's just these dudes in majestic capes just marching through, taking 1 damage from everything. It's so goofy. It's just so wonderful when it works. So just this whole scene where he's going and he's investing super heavily in light cavalry and things like that, because I'm repeatedly going in with like these reinforced rams and things like that. And all these Teutonic Knights and everything, they're taking no damage, so he figures, okay, we need more units in this. So he goes and makes a bunch of trash cavalry. So they only cost 1 resource, it's easy to get, so you can just mass them like crazy. So he's just sending hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of horses against this tiny little squad of knights. Like, oh man. Once you have a full booming fight in that one, there's just nothing quite like it. I mean, really, as far as the RTS games go, it's really hard to do better than AoE 2. It's like it looks so simple at first, but it's so very, very not. Right, so thankfully Zapan can actually do damage for us here. And just a quick reminder, every crit is a kill. Come get yours today. Oh yeah, so what I was saying about the whole rushing by thing. So we end up having this situation where we basically have a stalemate, and I end up stealing some of his cows, and so we have this standoff where, you know, I'm going and I'm sending him signal flares over and over, letting him know that, you know, here you go, I built a town for this cow. He has a town center, he has like 8 houses going for him. I built your cow a castle. He's just basically a lord now, he's been promoted. Like, we're just having a stalemate, so we're just screwing around at that point. Like, well, you know, might as well give this cow his own town to govern. And so it went for a little while. And so, you know, I keep hearing this booming off in the distance, and I haven't been playing Definitive Edition that long. And so they added a bunch of different sound effects to let you know where, you know, certain sneaky strategies are coming in. So if you're hearing a bunch of explosions coming out of the woods, that basically means somebody's trying to use catapults to try to break down all the trees in order to sneak their units through your forest line. So, anyway, so I'm hearing all these booms and everything, not really sure what's going on. Eventually get to the point where I've more or less broken the stalemate there, gotten through his army and everything, because like the main things I was doing were direct counter, more or less. And so he's just trying to sneak in, like, just these hordes of light cavalry over and over. I'm just seeing these green blobs just all trying to get in from wherever they can. I'm not even sure where he's sending them from at that point. He's just sending them en masse from everywhere. He's like sending out groups everywhere, but all the Teutonic units move slow as hell, so it takes them forever. They're just plodding along, not really getting anywhere. Suddenly, you know, dozens and dozens and dozens of light cavalry show up out of nowhere, accomplish absolutely nothing as they all crash into a wall of like 7 castles right next to each other. It's just... oh, it's such a massacre. And what's funny is that despite it being so one-sided on the actual like KD ratio there, it actually was a pretty close fight for most of it. But anyway, yeah, they're stacking up their turns now. This isn't good. All right, is Denim almost charged? No, we've got a good way to go for that. Needs a stall. Stall for time! Needs to charge up his his machine gun spirit bomb thing here. And this right here is why the AI was not allowed to use blessing stones. Because, yeah, they just be doing this all day. Ever since Parappa the Rappa, I've been disappointed whenever a boss battle in a video game doesn't transform into a rap battle. I wonder if we could transform this into a rap battle somehow. I can't rap worth a crap, and that would probably definitely help here. Alright. Probably 2 shots on that caster will do the job. Everybody else just needs to hold their own down the middle. Every crit is a kill. Come get yours today. Claw Guy's gotten 3 in a row. Alright. And once again, we're going to slowly spread ourselves like a weird form of bacteria. Just get everybody right back up, and then they go again. For maximum immersion, just go ahead and play Attack the Dead Man in the background. Alright. We've got a friend maker. Come on, be my friend, be my friend. Excellent.
Excellent. I have friends now.
Alright, so quicken to win away for him, that's fine. Cass is gonna go take out somebody else. Yes, I could have taken her out, I know that. But I wanted a chance for the charm to land. Kind of have them attacking each other. Try to get a little bit of damage out there so that maybe if they've got healing items, they start wasting them. Because I'm fairly certain he's got at least one. Come on, miss some of these. Dang it. Stop dropping bodies everywhere! Let me have a turn! I got like 5 kills per every turn that I get. Come on! I don't actually know why we appear to be so slow right now. Alright, please crit this. Yes! Okay. That might be a win right there. Alright, they're not even going for Zapan just because of how utterly crap tier we are. Oh, by the way, you know what's funny? Speaking of the whole ferry run thing, you know what's going to become very useful at the end of this run? You know what units we're probably going to end up switching to? Ferries. Weirdly enough. So when I was routing this out, in order to get to the very end, right? So when it comes to different units' properties and whatever else, ferries have a hover property, whereas these guys are just walking, right? So as far as base stats go, they have different tendencies, but generally speaking, you know, if you max out a ferry, they're going to be good. They don't have access to as many classes, but they're going to have, they're essentially going to have access to a lot of unusual skills. So we're going to be recruiting a lot of them for the post-game. We actually can't recruit a ferry up until we can get Angel Knights. Which, again, just goes down that weird rabbit hole of how and why exactly, but we definitely won't be getting to that. Anyway, so yeah. Fairies, golems, and ghosts. We're just going to be using all of the types that nobody ends up using. It's a weird time. In fact, now that I think about it, if I can recruit undead, I really might as well just use undead. Because it's not like they need a level, and they can gain skills. Like, they can't, funnily enough, they can't learn skills, or actually, they can't get points. But once we get past a certain point, I mean, we're already scavenging skills anyway. I actually don't... Now that I think about it, I can just turn any of these guys into zombies, because it's not like they need to be a necromancer to learn necromancy, so as soon as we hit Palace of the Dead, all we gotta do is make it to the first store. Is he gonna live? If we just make it to the first store, we get access to necromancy. This could work. Alright, we got no line of sight here. Is XCOM all of a sudden we need our line of sight? Well, that's disappointing. Alright. He's got a shot ready to go. I'm gonna speed him up. I need somebody to drop a breach on him. If the breach doesn't work, then we're gonna have to figure out something else. Because I think that should probably boost the damage up to about 50s or 60s, which should allow for everyone else to finish him off. But yeah, I don't think we're getting Zapan out of this. Oh, crap. Oh, no. Oh. Brutal. You will never see a better use of Berserk. Never. Alright, the one... Okay, we gotta hope that maybe his defense threshold got dropped to such a degree that it does 60 each, and then we can do a quick follow-up snipe. So we do one with that. Yeah, that just does 26, so that's gonna be pretty garbage. Let's see, Heart Crusher does 21, Shadow Pin does 21, Double Fang does 11, Hail does 34. So technically speaking, that's going to be a terrible idea. Sanctus will do 40, but it'll prevent him from doing anything. Delbind will do 40. Well... Alright, I gotta pull off one really impressive, like, mass revival here to pull this off. Because I don't know if he's actually gonna heal. He might not. Because it seems like what we're actually gonna need to pull this off is multiple death whales. And this is what we need an Anatomy for. So Anatomy would then further boost that damage by another 40%. At which point, yeah, having Anatomy at this point would have made that one shot. You know what? I think I know what to do. Let's see something here. Odds of landing a debuff are basically none. Mend Leaf. Got a bunch of characters that are ready to die here. So I got a very weird idea. Technically speaking, if we get a Strengthen, and we get a maxed out Brimstone Hail, that could, in theory, one-shot him from where he is right now. We basically lose some of our units. Everyone would take an injury. We'd have at least one casualty. But it's theoretically winnable. Because yeah, for every point past 100, you're essentially getting one extra damage off of your finishers if it's a damage scaling finisher. So what I do is I set up a Strengthen, I set up a True Flight, get that bar all the way up to 200, which should deal above 120. And you know what, if we can pull that off, I would be completely okay with sacrificing one of the units that we've been using this far. St. Challenge Run, don't see many Ogre Tactics turns as compared to that 15 ones. Well, yeah, it's unfortunate. This game is absolutely fantastic. And there goes Aciton. Cheese Stick, I don't believe, is one of the ones that had its Event Lady. She'll be back. It should be not Aerosol that's the one that dies. Catcher's gonna get sniped, as you do. But yeah, so this challenge is gonna be a weird one. We're actually going for the hidden. We're going for the secret ending. It's not really a secret ending, but nobody ever bothers to get that far into the game, so yeah. And just so you know, normally we end up showing off a lot more of the One Vision mod over here, but you know, currently it's going through a few little updates, so while that's happening, we're doing this level 1 run. Just to kind of see if it can be done. And currently attempting to abuse some of the game's mechanics to allow this winning to happen. Not the ending with Deneb. No, I mean the one where you beat lands. The one where you go back to the past and fight a max level, almost max rank lands, all the Dark Mans at the same time. Why did you ever take up the sword? Because you didn't. You had no sword. You used daggers and crossbows. Get it right. Now, unfortunately, because this guy got up in our face here, we might have a difficulty. But this is fine. This is fine. Because he's deciding to approach. And if they take another attack round, that should get us pretty close. I haven't had time to set up the Strengthen. If I can set up a Speed Up, then I can do all that pretty quick. Fortunately, that Lightning Bow is going to keep getting through with that Lightning Burst. So I'm hoping some stuff misses here. Come on, don't crit. Come on, give me my turn, give me my turn, give me my turn. Alright, what does this look like now? Well, that's disappointing. Bummer. Alright, well, that's fine. Let's do it again. See, has anyone done the Cooperative Multiplayer Campaign FFT War of the Lions yet? I keep meaning to beat it, but I never remember. Should see if I have the 2 save files and can borrow PSP to do it. Sure, we can make a one-off about it. I still have a save file from the Community War of the Lions run from a couple of years ago. I'll probably just make a couple copies of it. Alright, so a couple things we need to do differently. None of this stuff will be helpful. Not really, anyway. Because, yeah, we can't use anything in these. We can't use this. Trying to think if there's anything... we won't really even get access to Field Alchemy. One of the reasons that I actually really like this run, and actually one of the reasons it's probably going to be the last one I do for vanilla for this game, Is simply because any other challenge run, once you get to Chapter 4, once you get the Codex of Gems, you can simply just say, okay, just use orbs. You can make orbs infinitely, you can get 99 of all of them like nobody's business, it's just tedious. There's no reason not to use them, they're basically the best attack in the game. And then that's just kind of it. At that point you just have a rocket, you just have an infinite rocket launcher at that point. So yeah, that's no fun. So in this one we can't even get up to Field Out 4. I don't know why I'm trying to save here. Okay, so what did we need? So we need to do this one and the fight right after it. Actually, I believe the way it goes is we do this one, then we fight... we fight Cthulhu, or I always want to call him Dagon, that's his name. I think we fight Dagon immediately afterwards, and then that one's relatively easy, and then we fight Vice. Hang on, I will be right back. One sec. Okie doke, and back. So let's see, how does this game compare to Tactics Ogre 64, better or worse? Yeah, they're very different. So here's the thing, it's like, same universe, similar ideologies and ideas, and similar feeling, but their mechanics are very different. So like, for example, with Ogre Battle there, you're basically creating little teams, and you're sending them off to towns, and depending on what kind of characters are in that team, the town will react differently, and the entire game is judging you the entire time to decide what kind of events are going to happen. Like, it's a very cause and effect constantly kind of game. Like, Tactics Ogre is more about counterplay, whereas Ogre Battle is more about, like, kind of how you're presenting your team to the world in a way. Both of them are completely filled with just cool moments that every time you do a different run, you're going to have different stuff. Like, for example, with this one, there was never a time that I've ever paid much attention to the fact that one of the priests in this fight, or in the fight prior to this one, carries a fan with a charm effect on it. Never really came up as anything that would happen, and then already lost a fight to the fact that she just randomly whipped that thing out. It's like, well, screw it. Only 60% chance to hit, but we're going for it. And so sure enough, she ended up turning the thing around. But like with OB64, yeah, it's a hard one to describe because there's so much stuff going on. Like, really, the entire Ogre Battle series I would just describe as just you just want to dive in and experience it. Like, how do I even put this? Because it does have a lot of that chess-like, you got to learn the units and learn the moves and learn the counterplays, and yeah, there's a meta to all of them, but generally speaking, it's more fun if you don't play to the meta. Like, for example, with this one, you can learn that archers and ninjas are really OP in vanilla. And when I say vanilla, it's because there's a fantastic overhaul mod that, generally speaking, is considered the standard for this particular game at this point. Called One Vision, which if you do !One Vision, that'll come up. But yeah, there's just so much stuff. So basically, the overall feeling of it, the way that the world reacts, the way that the game changes every time you play through, that's really what these games are about. So, for example, like with FFT, it would be the equivalent of just the chaos route on one particular, instance for this game. Anyway, yeah, I wish that OB64 would come up for legitimate sale on something other than the Wii U, because who has a frickin' Wii U? I mean, Japan got it on the 3DS. I mean, I got a 3DS. I would gladly go buy both of them for twice as much as they would normally go for it. I mean, but no, we can't have that for some reason. Anyway, well, lucky you with your Wii U. By the way, I apologize. I can't actually read your name because for some reason it came up as this crazy blue color. Seven Pains, there we go. I basically have to highlight it to be able to read it because it just came as this crazy neon blue on my side here. I can't even read it. Switch ports of Ogre games in Front Mission? Yeah, you know what? If all of them got re-released on the Switch, I would consider getting a Switch. But yeah, as it stands, no such luck there. See, Matsuno wrote lucked, but they only used his outline for OB64, sounds kind of preachy at times. All of its nuance is lost unless you somehow manage to go lawful and no Zenobians at the same time. Yeah, some of the dialogue is kind of cringy, but it's such a cool feeling. It's really hard to describe that final chapter there. Like, Vale knows what I'm talking about here, but that final chapter here, once we got that first Ogre Blade there, just that, oh crap, what have I just done moment. Like, it felt like this was the right approach, and then halfway through it's like, oh, something ain't right here, we took a wrong step along the way. We accidentally did genocide, I don't know, man. Stuff's a bit dicey. And that's the feeling that these games really, like, get there. Like, that there's just complete bullcrap happening on both sides. Everyone wants to be the good guy, but there's really no chance for anyone to come out of the entire situation unscathed. It's interesting. Yeah, the story of OB64 is better if you do Zenobians plus Inkseth plus Lawful the first time, then do no Zenobians plus Werewolves plus Archers plus Lotus plus no Inkseth as Lawful, but after you beat it, tank your Lawfulness to 0 and you can unlock a secret battle that's the best in the series. Want to do that at some point. I've been meaning to do more OB64, but it's just stuff keeps happening. Anywho. let's go ahead and try to get this one done again. I'm gonna try to do it without any grinding, because I believe there is a thing that I've already set up for here. Two things that I need to check. There's a couple things that become available at this point. Shadowbind's never gonna work. Benumb, though. Interestingly, you can use these scrolls even if you have nobody that can actually use them. It's fine, don't worry about it. So, basically that means that everyone can put a stun debuff on their weapon right from the very start. On top of that, we have our Spirit Search 2s, which should do about 20 to everything on the map, so all we really need to do is take out the casters and take out the archers, stun everything else, and then just mash from there. 2-1 Part the final level has infinitely spawning enemies, so you can let them take your cities 50 times to go from 100 level to 0. I never even got to see the... Okay, so for reference, my first time through Ogre Battle 64 was on the Fairy-only challenge of the entire series, and I got to the very end fight, and basically it lasted 1 round, and I never even got to see the second phase of the boss. Because we abused the birthday mechanic. And by the way, like, Yamatsuno does put some really weird stuff in their games and everything. Weirdly enough, it's always the writing that they get praised for, even though, technically speaking, whoever handles the dialogue seems to always drop the ball, because there's usually a bunch of really weird stuff to the story. But the overall setting, the fact that there's way more mechanics than there need to be, that's really the stuff that you want there. Anywho. Alright, so first things first, we're going to run forward and get everybody all speedy-like. Second round, we're going to put stun debuffs on everybody. Actually, I think first line is going to do speed mode. Second wave is going to come in with the stun debuffs, so we're going to swap around for the following turn. 2 backliners will adjust as they need. And then we should be in business. And as long as everybody stays together in one group, we'll be good. Thing is, bunching up like this isn't always a good idea. Early on in the game it can be handy. Later on in the game, you're basically just going to get crushed and trying to do it that way. And yeah, this time I'm not going to try to do the assassination method with Denim. I think when I was testing this fight out, originally I had gone neutral, which basically meant that by this point I had Aerosol. I was able to scavenge Aerosol's skills onto him. For anyone that's never played this particular one, the scavenge mechanic essentially means that if you have a character that dies, they remain in your party, but you can scavenge all the skills up to their current rank onto another character. So essentially think the crystals from FFT. Essentially you just have those, except you can assign them to whoever you want. It's a hit or miss mechanic, but it's basically the only way that I can get a lot of skills in this particular one. Because there are certain characters that get recruited over the course of the story, they will have those particular skills on them. I don't have access to any manner of recruitment skills to actually pick up random units to pick up some skills off of them up until about the end of this chapter. So the main one that I needed to pick up was Anatomy, which allows you to scale up your damage in some pretty interesting ways. Because the main thing that we're doing right now is using our weapon skills as a weird defensive buffer. It's like basically 4 defense per rank. It's not very much, but it's enough to be able to survive some hits sometimes. If we took all of them off, we'd probably just be getting one-shot with regular attacks, but right now we at least have some defense against some things. There's a small chance of being able to survive a crit. Like right there, that particular one, if she didn't have the fist skill, I can almost guarantee it would have been a kill. Normally it's not terribly significant, but in this case it's basically all we got. Anywho. And by the way, for anyone trying the Ogre Battle games and things like that, there's a ton of different routes and approaches and everything else that you can take, that might be considered as, better in one way or another. Just bear in mind, your first time through, just experience it. There's no need to try to do anything optimally. Honestly, this entire series, if you try to optimize, it feels bad. It's the point at which people burn out because there's just so much stuff that can happen all over the place. they just end up burning out. Like, especially when I see people coming in, they're like, "Oh man, I love Tactics over PSP. Let me go ahead and 100% this thing." And then you just know you're going to find some record of them being in an insane asylum later, because why would you try that? I mean, again, a guy that's been running it also for, you know, about a decade there, Mr. Foles, he went ahead and did a video 100%ing it. It took him 6 months. It takes a really long time. You got to get a lot of things exactly right. And that's the thing, they have so many very situational things that can happen. So you're better off just going through, experiencing it. All the games are designed to adapt to the choices they make along the way, whether intentionally or not. Again, my favorite one as an example is March of the Black Queen, the very first one. There's a boss that, very early on that you're allowed to forgive. And so, you know, naturally playing an RPG, your first thought might be, okay, you know, I'll forgive the boss, and they'll go ahead and join me. They're saying they'll do that. I'll get a unique unit. You know, this will be good. And yeah, no. Sure, they'll join you, except immediately after you agree to spare them, they're like, yeah, I'm gonna need some really expensive stuff for me to actually join you. Also, guess what? The entire populace hates you now, because basically they were going around and experimenting on the local population and beheading people. So, yeah, people aren't too happy about them being forgiven. So, it's just stuff like that where, you know, there's the kinds of things that you don't necessarily see come up that often in the genre, you know? You see a lot of tropes happen, you don't see a lot of the consequences that would naturally occur, and that's the beauty of the series. That it adjusts to the kind of stuff that you do. So there we go, we're going to throw stuns on everybody. Turn off their counterattacks, hopefully turn off their turns. I'm just going to do this with the dagger, because they're way faster to swing. And like with this game, sure, if you optimize everything all the way, you know, then you just go with just archers and go with just ninjas and you have all this other stuff, and it stops being fun. But if you do stuff like this, where you're not using some of those kind of busted mechanics, you can have a whole lot of fun making use of this wide breadth of options that you have available. Like, who honestly went into the Darza fight and did anything other than just shoot him in the face and leave? Meanwhile, over here, you know, we're coming in. We have a second line of people going in with stun weapons in order to try to delay their turns a little bit more, to buy some time to get close, to be able to get his defense reduced down, to get some finishers going. Like, you never think about this stuff normally. Anyway, did a no incaps / Chariot on my first playthrough. Yeah, if you want to enjoy this game, do not do no incapacitations. Like, if you want to have a fun attempt and no incapacitations, just do a solo. I know it sounds dumb, but play the game solo. Again, I have the last video of that going up in terms of if you're wondering how on earth you managed to get all the way to the secret ending with that. It's a little bit of an involved process, but it's way more fun than trying to do it with a team and having one of your generics just get sniped by a brimstone hail, and then suddenly having to redo the entire fight. So yeah, definitely don't do it that way. These games are best played, just stick with every decision you make. Just redo a fight if you fail, but just stick with every decision you make. If somebody dies, keep playing. Because you know what? Optimizing these games makes them less fun. They're all about the experience. They're all about the story adapting as you go along. They're about the cool situations that come up. Like in many cases, people will go back and constantly reload to save cash with there. That's the one example. That's the one example of the one time they actually do want to make sure that happens, because yes, while the fallout of it might be interesting, it's the only one that's actually scripted to have a thing that can kind of screw you over in the post-game. It's a weird DLC issue, but everything else, you'll get some interesting results out of, you know, a character not being there anymore. Maybe they won't be there to prevent somebody else from doing something stupid. Maybe somebody else will take their place. You know, it's just fun. It's just fun playing in your new world state all of a sudden. Alright, I want to take the heal, but I want to try to shut that unit down. Get as many stuns going as possible. Stun daggers! Let's see. I feel a strong need to get the A+ ending for the first time, especially for OV64, March of the Black Queen, Lux, and Lotus. But I've done that, and then I'm willing to have fun again. Yeah, I mean, that's fair enough. It's fun to go for those specific endings. I'm just saying, like, first time through, I've seen so many people stress out, like, specifically for this game, March of the Black Queen, whatever else, like, there's so much stuff that can go wrong. Knight of Lotus... You know what, actually, I would recommend starting with Knight of Lotus for a lot of people. Sure, the presentation isn't as nice as a lot of the others, but it doesn't have as much, I guess as much that needs to be done exactly right to get things to happen a certain, certain exact way. I mean, I remember one of the... I think it was my second run through March of the Black Queen. I thought I had gotten the good ending, and everything seemed to be going well. I had a character that was relatively under-leveled. I thought I had reputation high enough. But apparently, we had lost one of the cities back and forth too many times, and was forced to run away a few too many times at the last fight. And then I get to the very end and end up getting the assassination ending. It blew my friggin' mind that was even there. Like, I'd heard about it, but up until that moment, it just never really clicked. Like, oh crap, this can go really wrong really fast, I mean, just the impact of a lot of this stuff, if you don't actually go for it, it just feels good. All right. Oh, he got the crit. Why? Why did he always get the crit, man? If he had just landed that normally, we would have had the death whale ready to go. The devil ending March of the Black Queen is pretty funny. You know what? I've yet to see that one. I'm curious to see it. I mean, I have to say the you get assassinated ending in this one kind of cracks me up, because it's almost like an afterthought, because they're like, oh, Denim was just rooting around through the closet, found Cashua's pajamas, just sort of showed up at the coronation, and that random knight with a revolver shows up. Got assassinated first playthrough? Yeah. And did it not have an awesome impact? Like, oh crap, there's other options. And like the number of things that can affect that one, I thought if you end up going to take out the assassins before they actually get you, which you do have the option to do, I thought that was the thing that did it, but apparently there's actually the chaos frame score that's constantly adjusting a lot of things about your ending. Apparently the way that works is just taking out that particular fort gives you some partial bonus towards that, that usually combined with a certain route that I like to take just out of convenience, or rather just kind of out of preference. Apparently was the real reason that it was happening. It wasn't only because of that one fight. So there's actually multiple reasons that stuff can be happening a certain way. And god dang it with these crits! Dude. Play nice, game. I have no health on anybody. What the F, really downer ending? True, true. But it does have some of the best music. I think Reminiscence is probably my favorite theme in this game. Alright. Yeah, we have a nice AoE heal set up here. Also, for that matter, what downer ending? This entire series is one downer ending after another. I mean, look at what happens with Zenobia, even in the best case scenario. Like, the canonical ending is basically the A++ ending from that one, where you went and you had perfect chaos frame for most of it, and then you had it down for a little bit, and then you got it right back up again. You managed to go save all the important characters, managed to do the chaos gates, managed to go get the Brynhilder, and managed to win the game on the good ending on top of that. And then, yeah, after all said and done, after you basically just platinum that game, then they immediately go into OV64. Another crit, honestly. Then they immediately go into OV64 and, end up getting screwed in that one. I mean, like, what happens to everybody from the original? Like, out of curiosity, can I spoil some of the story beats for what happens to the March of the Black Queen cast, or is anybody really averse to that at the moment? Because seriously, nobody gets a good ending in this series. That's the point. Stop! Stop KOing everybody! Let me have a dang turn. So I think the AI does have the means to know who's next in the turn order, because it does feel like they put target priority on somebody that's about to get a turn. For that matter, they have not rolled their stun even once. What gives? Come on, roll your stun, roll some dodges. What's going on here? And another crit. This is what I mean. Level 1 seriously get crit all the time. Alright. Got our first damaging move ready to go. Can get 45 off this sucker right now. Wop 2, we'll do 11, but I don't have enough accuracy to actually pull it off effectively with him, so we're going to put that in the back pocket for now. Anyone got a turn coming up? My Frisk does. Sorry, replying to a few texts real quick. Alright, so I'm gonna need to actually have Evan heal him up here. Get him a little bit out of the way because he's almost charged up. Alright, so since I didn't really... Let's see, the presentation of Ogre Battle reminds me of a Japanese take on tabletop games and figurines. Yeah, I mean, frankly, a lot of the series is basically, let's essentially have D&D, except it's tactics. Right, is there any tile that you can somehow make that miracle shot? Wow. Don't figure that logic, but okay. But you're one tile off being able to pull it off. Okay, Alright. Alright, well she can get this one out of the way. We're definitely not out of the fight yet. See, super sad you didn't do a March of the Black Queen for the event. I really should have, huh? Could have a November of Lotus. What? That's close enough. All the have little platforms like amiibos. Interesting note, by the way, the statues in this game are actually a reference to the PS1 version of that game. The Palace of the Dead statues are the units from MOTBQ PS1. Although only some of them, like, the references they went for were a little bit hit and miss. Let's see, maybe Mermaid, where you do the mermaid run? I don't see why not. Ah, crap, that has to be done in 3 days. That's a definite maybe. Yeah, basic spells doing 100 plus right now. Thankfully, somehow Zapan got himself way back there, and he's just tearing up their back line like no one's business. I mean, he survives, good. Always wanted a run where you use all the non-human races. We've done fairy runs of the entire series. And it was actually a permadeath run of the entire thing basically it almost was no reloads through the entire thing, but then I looked out the window because something was going on outside and got killed off by a random what the hell was it? A Sphinx or a Pinnacus or something? It was basically right at the final siege fight of OB64. That's where the run was ending. Got through March of the Black Queen Fairy only. Got through Night of Lotus Fairy only. Got through Lucked Fairy only. And then right at the very end, you were murdered by a chicken. Yeah. Yeah, I was murdered by a chicken. I felt really stupid too, because like, oh man, there's just all these grunts that are repeatedly charging into my invincible main character here. Surely nothing can happen, and then he's like, oh, I'm sorry, chicken that ignores all defense? I'm just hiding in the mob. Nice to meet you. Just friggin' one-rounded by the chicken. It'll be 3 out of 4 OB games, and we're nearly to the end when the chicken killed everyone. It only killed Steve. In my defense. See, flying units are a problem for me in all Ogre battle games. Problem in which way? Oh look, Tasty Squisher caster line decimated. That's why you gotta do better. Alright, this should be a nice open line for him right here. Alright, Death Whale. See, in this game you basically counter all those by just putting on Fortify. Because of the way that the Fortify works, pretty much any squishy unit becomes unsquishy with Fortify, but it does almost nothing to the tankier ones. Alright, well, they're basically dead. Man. If Zapan makes it through this, I'm gonna feel really bad for sacrificing him to steal his strength in. He's over here actually carrying the fight. For Mermaid, were we including Octopi, or just Mermaids, Gorgons, and Lamia? I'm gonna leave that one up to you. Or we can put that up to a vote. What do you guys think? So you just picked up my PSP after so long, can't remember where I left in this game? One of the joys of the vanilla game, for sure. Is wind up finding yourself lost after... Oh, crap. Berserk, stop killing everybody! Kinda wanna see you get revenge on the Surface Dwellers? Well, okay. Octopi are included, then. Alright, if I can start getting some people out of critical. Run Savannah away. I feel like at this point scattering is the best option. Yeah, our odds to dodge are basically non-existent. So right now what I'm waiting for is trying to get Zapan to go finish off their caster. Buy us a little bit of time there. Waiting for one of these 50% to roll in my favor here. Don't know how it's possible that we had half the team running around stunning everyone, not a single stun rolled. A 50% rolled! Holy crap. It's like a miracle. Alright, nobody's moving anytime soon. Might as well go pick this up. So you could include water dragons and hydras too? Yeah, I don't see why not. Please fail. Actually, that's just hobble, so not too bad. Please miss. Ah. Just gonna want to see it do a revenge on the surface dwellers. I mean, the dragons dwell on the surface, even if they're a water dragon. Revenge of the Merfolk sounds like a Magic the Gathering deck. That game's surprisingly fun. Come on. How is that even possible? How are they this fast? Please miss. Thank you. The problem is they keep knocking them out in such an order that I can't get anyone back up on their feet by the time one of their others comes around to finish them off. That's why we're not really getting anywhere with this. We're just stuck in a never-ending death spiral. And this is exactly why we need anatomy. Right. Not to mention, if any of these 50% would roll, that'd be fantastic, because pretty much all of these have been 50%. Fantastic. Caster's gone. Alright, that's 100%. He's probably got True Strike on him. Yeah, anybody that's even got rank 1 True Strike is just gonna hit. There we go, we can get Etsum up. We can then hopefully get somebody else up. Although their entire team's gonna move in that time. Alright, no policy is going to be heal and scatter then. They've got an archer that's probably going to take out somebody. If they could stop critting constantly, we can get somewhere. Please miss. Thank you. Mind you, the crits won't matter now. Alright, come on. Oh, if this lines up, man. If this lines up right now, I'm so happy. Alright. I'm gonna need him to take his move, so we're gonna go right here. Hopefully prevent this attack. Please miss. Ow, you suck! And another crit! Stop critting all the time! I would ask what the odds are, but they're apparently like 80%. Dude, you already have Berserk. Stop turning on Berserk. Apparently his scripting tells him to hang out around the middle of the map, so he's just not going to go anywhere right now. Alright. So is that going to be you? No. Is that you, or is that you? Is that you? Alright, who is... Alright, so we got that one right there, you're right there. We might be able to pull this off. This is going to be really tight. It's going to be really, really tight if it happens. Alright, are you a caster variant? Yeah. He's got augment air despite using lightning. Yeah, that makes sense. Alright, Evan's gonna go ahead and take a heal. Excellent. Okay. Come on. What I don't get, seriously though, is why on earth they're so fast. Again, I know part of it is the way that the turns are cascading, but they just seem unusually fast. Alright. So what we're gonna do is try to evacuate everybody up. So let's see whose turn's coming up next. That'd be yours. Yeah, if I could all get them all bunched up in a formation of some sorts, we could get somewhere. Glare is good, because even if it lands, it doesn't do too much, and it causes them to take their turn a lot slower. Alright, Cheese Stick's out of here. Trying to heal up Cerebro here. If we can cluster everybody up on top of the ramparts there. Quite good. The more I think about it, if we're having this much trouble without strengthen for this part, we're gonna have even more trouble for the next one, but it's still doable, I think. Oh, come on. Screw you, Clawman. This is why I haven't been healing. Because I can just come in and mop up everybody. That's 3 revives. We're starting to run low on items. Dude, really? Oh, come on, Zapan. What the hell's wrong with you? He just basically attacked my guy. Alright, so other options here. Got casts that barely have a chance to hit. What I was hoping to do is get enough units up to be able to spam those, but seeing as he just caused 2 of my dudes to get taken out for nothing... Douchebag, we're trying to save you. I hear having a turn is nice. Guarantee he rolls high on this. Yep. Alright, so he's dead. Because of course he rolled high. Alright, and there's that one done. It's doable. Screw the RNG, but it's doable. I'm sorry, not a single stun rolls. Alright, but yeah, basically all we need is 2 finishers, and then everybody else can finish them off with casts, provided they ever get a chance to attack. I think that's what this boils down to. So we're going to go ahead and speed this up real quick. Alright, instead everybody's going to get their toad scrolls going. Try to keep everybody's turns going at around the same time. Actually, one thing that's going to carry us through a large part of this fight is whenever the Envenom ones become available. Because at that point we basically have guaranteed damage against everything. Funnily enough, that actually was the Chinese strategy for a little while. The whole Chickanu thing, apparently the running theory is that they basically poison the bolts. And so yeah, sure, they were unlikely to actually do any real damage on their own, but all they needed was a little scratch. So, you know, throw a few hundred of those flying around everywhere. Right. Anyway, like you said, there's knife work to be done. Everybody gets the stun. Of course he rolls the crit. Why wouldn't he roll the crit? They always roll the crit. Alright. The best bet that I see right here is Timmy up here needs to go away. Can you make this shot? Yes, you can. Because his defense is just low enough to allow him to be taken out. Okay, that's better. That's not. Right. Fantastic. We actually rolled a crit for once. Alright, more stuns. More stuns. More stuns. Can you make the shot from here? Sure can. Fantastic. Anyway, his odds of doing anything are pretty low, so we'll go ahead and get down to the surviving. That's more like it. Now we're rolling those crits. And stuns actually rolling. Fantastic. How's this for damage mitigation? This is how it was supposed to go. Rude as that is, we can now stun you as well. Right, he can't be stunned, right? No, he can be stunned, interestingly. Yeah, get the stun off on him. Alright, get this one back on their feet. Throw out a few more heals so that the little stuff isn't quite scratching them. And then re-up some of these early stuns. Okay, beautiful. Beautiful. We're actually getting somewhere. Alright, Span dies, so goodbye Strengthen. That's okay, I think we can get past the next fight without it. Oh, for crap's sake, really? %+ plus crit, everyone frickin' dies, yeah, okay. That stands to reason. Nope, nope, nope. None of these guys' turns are even remotely close. She's 10%, she's one of the low skill ones. Got her to survive a random one. He's one of the high skill ones. Alright, re-up stun on this guy. On the one hand, I want to start going for that 10 damage at a time thing. Making this shot work, that can work. Right, there's one of two. So I think I know the plan here. I'm going to need to get him out of the way. Ideally back here, so that maybe he'll get targeted. Let's choke down healing items, and we need to take that top area as much as we can. Death Whale right here. That won't take out that guy. Just depends on whose turn is next. So it's Frisk. They might be able to take a cast. If they do a hail, it's a 49-35. Basically gets him down to the point where a cast can finish him off. Frisk can do that. We'll just go directly for it. Or we go for taking out that one entirely. Yeah, that's probably the better way to go. Alright, how much does he do with his casts, actually? Still 11. Okay. So more biting for time while he fills his meter. Oh, he's gonna go for the Berserk. Son of a turd, I hate that! I just hate it so much. Like, on the one hand, yes, I know it's set up, you know, he would have done it. Fair enough, it's a legitimate mechanic. On the other hand, screw him for hitting that. Anyway, for now, the idea is just get as many people up top as possible. Essentially what I want to do is present this in such a way that we basically prevent them from moving, and then just use a bunch of finishers while blocking their directions. And yeah, ideally I need not Aerosol out of here, but she's probably going to end up being a casualty if this actually does end up working. Death Whale. Next turn he heals. After that he continues knifing the guy. And I need the person up top to be somebody with a finisher. Okay, not Airsoul's dead. Flesh 2's down. Cheese stick is down. Only other ranged unit is almost down. There we go. He's gone. Crap. Alright. Surprisingly, this is doable. This is technically winnable. All that's best to do is stall for time right now. Alright, we got Spellcraft in here. Alright, we're gonna try that. Barely survive with 5 health. And continue to run away. Please crit. Yeah, this is a situation where knockback would be incredibly useful. Come on, Radiance 2. Okay. Hang on. Is that 47%? Of course it missed. Although for some reason they're running away. It's possible. It's very possible. I don't know why he decided not to heal, but... Not really sure why I took that shot, either. There we go! We lost not Aerosol, so we lost one of our A-team. But there we go. Okay, we get wasted garages, thing I'm never going to use. And alright. That's it for today. I gotta get going. Thank you guys for stopping by. I know it went a little bit longer than expected. Wasn't expecting that one to go as it did. Anyway, not Aerosol can just go ahead and get scavenged onto Mr. Vale, I think. So thank you guys for stopping by, and there we go. Not Aerosol's gone, but Mr. Vale is now part of the A-team. It's kind of the cool thing about this mechanic, so he can get changed into a warrior. Unfortunately, I don't think he actually has the slots for this. Oh well. Anyway, that's all we need for now, so yeah, thank you guys for stopping by. Have yourselves a good one, and take care. Have a good apocalypse. Hopefully see you tomorrow. Actually, wait a minute. Possibly. Possibly tomorrow morning. Maybe. We'll see. Might have some work stuff to get done. Either way.